Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Good Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, huh? I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. Hey, but if you missed something, we're here for you. All 3 hours going to be posted upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault, which you can access, by the way, if you use the WTSM app. Yeah, you got that little TSM app there. You're all good. Email the show if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter @JCameronShow. Way too many of you already have. And I would also note we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. Just type it in. You'll find us. And you can watch us perform the show if that's your cup of tea. Florida State falls to Miami. But alas, the streak is no more. Credit Miami making big plays down the stretch with the game on the line. Back-to-back 75-yard drives will hurt your feelings. That's tough to stomach now, isn't it? And that further, I think, heightens the call for a certain defensive coordinator's head. And got to be tough times for Charles Kelly because clearly that unit failed this team in the most crucial of moments on Saturday. Not once but twice after having such a dominant first half. And in any football game where the result is that the lead changes hands in the last 10 seconds of the game, it is very easy to go back and find several key moments of the game that all add up to that loss. They can happen in the first half, too. So the offense is not devoid of blame here either. The first half was so thoroughly dominated by Florida State, and yes, it's 3-0 at half. You've got to find a way to be up by 2 scores in that situation. I assure you, if this is a 10-0 game at halftime, that Florida State has a very, very good chance of winning the game. Miami had to have felt buoyed going into that locker room down just 3, knowing that at one point in the half they had 24 yards to Florida State's 124. At one point in the half into the second quarter, they were being doubled in time of possession. They were absolutely pinned inside their own 20 the entirety of the half. The playbook shrunk because of it, and Florida State's defense was carrying the day. But because they did not play situations well, once they got across the 50-yard line, Florida State found themselves with only a 3-point lead. Now, they could not have guessed, I don't suppose, the turnaround was about to take place. That second half, the defense gives up 24 points. It's a lot. After shutting out a team for a half, to turn around and give up 24 is way too many. And nearly 300 yards of offense in that half as well. So there's enough blame to go around, but rightfully, I think, when you're able to point to some pretty crazy statistics, and you'll hear it in my interview with Jimbo Fisher that I did last night for the Mountain Dew interview, 7 of the last 17 games, Florida State has seen their defense given up a fourth-quarter drive that either ties the game or gives up the lead. And that's unacceptable. Nearly half of your games are featuring a defense giving up fourth-quarter leads. Something is not right on that side of the ball. And that something is that they are unable to make critical plays when they have to. And if you're an elite defense, and one of the things you can remove debate with this stuff. You can decide that opinion doesn't really have to come into play here. Now, I mean, ultimately everybody's got an opinion, but if you're recruiting the way that Florida State has, 4 straight top 5 classes? So if you're recruiting and then you look at NFL projections, if you're going to look at the upcoming draft, now you might say, hey, listen, that doesn't tell the whole story. I got you. There's nuance to all of this. But what it does do is allow you to assess whether there's a talent deficiency or not. And when you find that you've got more than a handful of players on that side of the ball that are going to be drafted, much more than a handful, and you realize that talent deficiency isn't at play the way it was during the lost decade. During the lost decade, people would say, well, what's going on? Is it coaching? Is it this? It was a lot of things back then, too. But literally, you could look at the draft projections and go, we're just not very talented. I mean, you'd look around in the conference and you'd go, sometimes we're not the most talented team on the field and we're playing a middling ACC school, we're not doing a good job of recruiting. But that's not the case here right now at all. Not even close, right? There's a ton of talent out there. There's a ton of talent defensively, specifically. This is a year we thought the defense would carry the day. Now, we didn't know to the extent they'd have to carry the day because we didn't know DeAndre Francois would get hurt, et cetera. But the point is, that group's not lacking talent. So when they don't perform, when they underperform, when they don't live up to expectation, when they don't play to the potential of that talent, there's only one place to point the finger. That's it. One, coaching, period. It's not a debate. So at that point, you're left with the frustration of knowing that change has to take place. The problem is you can't do it in season. And so what you're going to watch is a lot of close games, a team that underachieves, a team that is in a position to lose to teams they ought not, period. Maybe they get better as the year goes on. I think there are some things that you can take from this game to hang your hat on, some things that you can feel good about. Cam Akers took a huge step forward in this game. Your young quarterback grew up in the fourth quarter, and he did so in a rivalry game with the game on the line at 18 years old in his third college football game. There are things about that that should excite you. There are things about what Auden Tate continues to do while playing hurt, things that the offensive line did in the run game. I mean, you rushed for over 200 yards in this football game against a very good front seven. If I had told you before the game that you were going to line up and run the football effectively the way that Florida State did, given the inconsistencies of this offensive line, I think many of you would have doubted that. But nobody wants to hear that after a loss, another loss, our third of the season, one that ends the streak against Miami at home after taking the lead with under a $1:30 to play. No, I got you. It's frustrating. And this season is all but lost. I mean, you have lost all of the things that you were playing for. Conference title, playoffs, potential national championship run, any of those things. They're gone. State championship, off the table. So you've lost virtually everything that you would have had to play for as a team. Now you have to hope, obviously, competitive spirit, pride, etc. kicks in. These guys, and then you'll hear me ask the question to Jimbo Fisher about what they're playing for. And he's right to note that, while team goals may be off the table, there are individual goals. These guys are trying to go play professional football. And no scout's going to like to see a guy who, once their season is in the tank, decides to walk about and not give his best effort. So one thing I can say about this team currently is that while 2014 was maddening for a lack of discipline, at times a lack of effort, at times guys seemingly mailing it in for the pros, this isn't that. This team's trying very hard. They don't quit. They don't stop playing. There's a resilience to them. And I got you. Oh, great. That's nice, Jeff. They're resilient. Oh, they're resilient in their losses. They are tough. They are showing you that. The reason I bring that up is not to allay your frustrations, but rather to say I don't think we're in that danger place that I talk about with teams whose team goals are removed. We've seen this before where teams have very high expectations. Those expectations are dashed early in the year, and the rest of the season is a zombie fest. People walking around indifferent about what happens in a football game. I don't think you're going to get that. I think they're going to continue to play hard. That's one fear that I've heard expressed from the fan base in your emails and your tweets and what you think's going to happen. I don't believe that. I think they'll continue to play hard. The results aren't good enough. It's as simple as that. It's very cut and dry. They're 1-3. They were preseason ranked number 3 in the country. Have they had setbacks, some things that were unforeseen? Without question, that's true. But there's no doubt when you lost 3 games a year ago and 3 games the year before that, and you lost 3 games again now, all before we get into mid-October, is that not getting it done? 100% that is not getting it done. What I think we have here is changes on the horizon, a coach who's got tough decisions to make at season's end. Many of you wish those decisions had been fast-tracked at the end of last year, that we had not gone into this season with this same group, this staff, as currently comprised. I got you. But there's nothing to do about that now except resent that he didn't make those changes. But he didn't. That was the decision. And Jimbo's not in a place where you think he should be fired. I'm not, anyhow. I mean, some of you might feel that way because you resent that he didn't make those changes. Now, I will tell you, that sentiment and that anger will shift towards him en masse if he doesn't make changes at the end of this year, without question. I think right now, by and large, if you're putting your finger on the pulse of this fan base, you would say, you got to make changes. You better know you got to make changes. Can you give me a sign that you know you need to make some changes? And he did today. This answer specifically to the question on the status of one Charles Kelly is not a ringing endorsement, to say the least. This is Jimbo Fisher this afternoon.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles is being our coordinator, and we'll go through this year and hopefully finish the year very strong.
Yeah, now that's the damning line, right? It starts off well enough, although it doesn't sound like it's being said with great conviction. It sounds like platitudes being offered for a friend because, by and large, I think there's two things at play here. One, Jimbo Fisher respects Charles Kelly, the man. He respects his acumen for the game. So he wants certainly to express that in his effort to support Charles Kelly publicly. He's not going to say, oh, no, we're going to fire Charles Kelly at the end of the year. Thanks for asking. And until that time, no more questions about Charles. He's gone at the end of this year. He's not going to say that. So what he's going to do is tell you that Charles is doing a good job and you know, he's a heck of a football coach. And I think Coach Fisher believes that, because you can be a heck of a football coach and maybe be in the wrong position. Charles Kelly, as a defensive backs coach, as a linebackers coach, or in some other role, probably works out just fine. I mean, obviously, he's a guy that is well respected within the coaching community. That back end of the defense is something he knows very, very well. And when he was in charge of that, it was fine. Being a defensive coordinator means taking on more. There are other things at play here beyond just Charles Kelly's failings. But Fisher saying what he says about him as a coach and as a man, I understand. But when he gets to the end of that statement, we'll continue on through the rest of this year. I mean, you can just stop right there. I mean, what are you alluding to at that point? I mean, that is not a ringing endorsement.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles is being our coordinator, and we'll go through this year and hopefully finish the year very strong.
Yeah, we'll go through this year. So I don't foresee Charles coming back, and you know, I hate it for him because he's you know, you've heard it a million times, and I know many of you bristle every time you hear a member of the press go, he's a nice guy. I got you. You don't care anymore. There's a job to be done. And both things can be true. He is a really nice guy, and there is a job to be done, and he's not getting it done. You know, what's a real shame, too, is in this game, James Blackman, who at times made really bad decisions, as true freshmen will make, and whose confidence seemed rattled, then picks himself up off the mat to give you two drives in which you are able to wrestle back the lead. Imagine that now, a game on the line, 18 years old, rivalry, fourth quarter, your confidence is shaken, and you make those throws, those plays, put together those drives, and you give your team the lead not once but twice. He has now, at the age of 18, driven this team to 3 fourth-quarter drives to take the lead. One of those on the road, which ends up winning the game against Wake Forest, and then 2 on Saturday, and yet your defense gives up back-to-back 75-yard drives that cost you the game. That's the shame of what happened there, is that he is not rewarded with a win. The team is not rewarded with a win despite those 2 comebacks and those 2 drives and those scores. Instead, you're 1-3. The streak is over. The season is a mess. Get ready to play a ton of noon games and kind of go through the motions, at least emotionally as a fan. But players, I don't think will do that. I don't think that the locker room is as big a mess as some of you believe it to be right now. I'm sure there's discord. I'm sure there's frustration. I'm sure there's a lot of angst about the losing, as there ought to be when you're 1-3. But I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. You know, during the lost decade, you'd hear horror stories of the offense and the defense not even talking to one another. Frequently, there being fights that had to be broken up. They're not at that place. They're disappointed. They're frustrated. They're angry. We are too. But they're continuing to fight. And again, you don't get kudos just for playing hard. You should play hard. You're on scholarship. You're a competitor. You ought to continue to compete. I think they will. What's left to play for this year? Well, you have an opportunity now, without question, to kind of experiment. If listen, I talk about those recruiting classes that you've brought in each of the last 4 years. I dare say, if you got some young kids you're interested in and some kids you think you want to accelerate the growth rate because next year you're losing so many people on this defense, might you want to put them in a position to have, gain a little experience, to have had a little experience under their belt? You can do it now. I mean, what are you playing for? Find out what you got a little bit here. I mean, you're obviously playing to have a winning record. You're playing to try to get to another bowl and continue a streak that's legendary and all that other stuff. Sure, you play to win the game, as they say. But you can do so with some younger guys and get them some reps and interesting moments. And obviously, we're going to continue to watch this quarterback grow. All right, I talked to Jimbo Fisher last night. When we come back, you'll hear my interview with him in the Mountain Dew coach interview. That's next on the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Yellow Street Service, we go out on the limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Mahindra's inventory clearance is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra 750S Camo as low as $135 a month. Or up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Proof Brewing Company is Tallahassee's first and largest production craft brewery since 2012. They are locally owned and operated inside Railroad Square Art Park. Visit Proof's expansive brewery, outdoor beer garden, and tasting room with live music on Friday evenings. Proof Brewing Company's award-winning beers 850 and Mango Wit are now available in 6-pack cans. Follow Proof Brewing Company on Facebook or visit online at proofbrewingco.com for more info. Proof Brewing Company reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Wow, this is great. E+.
E+? Is that like A+?
It's better. The E stands for easy.
Easy Plus?
Yep, easy ways to save energy, water, and money from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, your own utilities. The City of Tallahassee Utilities has created easy ways to monitor your account with E+ online. We can pay online, we can check our balance online, compare usage history online, and even take a free online energy audit.
And I see the City of Tallahassee Utilities has created a new smart bill. Once we enroll, we do everything online. Billing, pay, paying everything. What a time saver. Not to mention saving energy, water, and money.
And when we download the City of Tallahassee Utilities Digitally smartphone app, we can do everything on our phone. Pretty incredible.
Plus, there are new authorized payment locations, like some local gas stations, grocery stores, other city departments, and more.
We can even go to the Renaissance Center at 435 North Macomb Street to pay our bill.
Wow. The E really does stand for easy, doesn't it?
It sure does. E Plus from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
No fans, ESPN Tallahassee's official home for FSU watch parties in 2017 is Miller's Ale House on Appalachian Parkway.
Francois to throw for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Seminoles are going for the win.
The ESPN Tallahassee team will be on hand for every Seminole away football game with giveaways, a chance to win some great prizes, and to have a good time.
To the pylon. He's into the end zone for an FSU touchdown.
So, when the Noles hit the road, join us at Miller's Ale House on the Parkway, the official FSU watch party headquarters of your home of the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Authority. You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, welcome back. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. We're joined now by Jimbo Fisher, as we always are on Mondays. He's looked at the tape. All right, Coach, this game feels a bit like a microcosm of the season because on the one hand, I think you're going to tell me there's plenty that you can draw from here. Your young quarterback grows up, makes plays in the fourth quarter. Your young running back starts to run north and south and hit it up in there. You're able to control the game in the first half, some situations where you could have come away with some more points. And on the other hand, we say all that, but it accompanies another loss and a close one at that. So that's kind of the microcosm of the season right about now, the good and the bad, and we're coming up just short.
It is, and we got to find one way to make one more play and find. As I joke all the time, eye control and find the inches. I mean, an inch or two here, and you got to do it. Now, like I say, we have to do that, and we should be doing that, and we have to do it. And we've got to find that way. And at the same time, it's very close, but at the same time, we got to do a better job of coaching them, keep putting them in position, and making them do it.
Well, you mentioned it in the postgame last night. I want to go straight to it. James Blackman regrouped. He finds it in the fourth quarter of a rivalry game after he's had a couple mistakes. You played quarterback. You've talked about this before. That's admirable. That's the stuff that you look back on as a career develops and you realize then he had it. So you have to be very proud of the way he gathered himself after those couple interceptions.
There's no doubt. I mean, and mistakes, one of them was totally on him. One's a kind of a combination I won't get into. But at the same time, people have no idea, especially early in your career, how hard that is to do. And even for an old veteran, some guys just can't do it. He has something about him. Now, we got to get some things cleaned up in the beginning, get a little faster start, and I've got to do a better job in that situation with him, making sure he's totally comfortable with things and get him going. But there was some, man, that what he did in that fourth quarter in those last three drives is really a heck of a deal.
How frustrated, I'm wondering, take me through the first half. It's totally dominated by Florida State. At one point at the end of the first quarter, you're doubling in time of possession. It's 124-24 in yards. You really have control of the game. You can argue that if it's 10-0 at half, you might just win this game. Were you frustrated, or did you see, okay, we have the lead. There's something else we got to do here to get some points on the board?
Well, it was, and because the plays were, the opportunities were there. We just got to get it to slow down and make it. And, whether it was just we ran the ball really effectively. But occasionally we'd have one just play where, and when one guy give a little penetration up, we'd have a 2nd and 12. With the young quarterback sometimes early in the game, that sets you back. And we knew it. Knew we should have had more, had a chance for a touchdown. We had just one of the few protection breakdowns we had early in the first half that cost us there. And, if you're getting 6-8 more yards, you're kicking field goals and those things, even though you're up 9-10-0. but we needed a touchdown. And it wasn't frustrating to a point as it was that you were disappointed because the things are there and they know they could do it and could come off and regurgitate what happened. You just got to finalize and find a way to do it.
You mentioned the run game. Obviously, 31 carries, 212 yards. Did you know during the week, okay, we can run the ball against Miami? That's a good front seven. What did you see?
Well, we knew we had to, and we wanted to be physical and direct, and we knew it could set things up. But we felt we liked the matchups in there, and we thought we could find some running game. We really did.
I guess real quick while we're on the subject, since Jacques Patrick came up with an injury, let's go through quickly. You don't have to tell me anything you don't need to tell me. Trey Marshall, Keith Gavin, Jacques Patrick, Auden Tate. Where are we at for this week?
Auden should be ready to play. Keith Gavin will have to wait and see. Who else did you say? Jacques should be good to go. Who else? Just somebody else.
Trey Marshall.
Trey Marshall. I don't know. I would assume so, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't know yet.
All right, so Miami at halftime, Coach, has, I think, a grand total of 54 yards. Obviously, in the second half, it's a different story. They go for 280 and 24. The frustration, I think, for fans, and it has to be for you as coaches, the defense has had a penchant for this. This is 7 of 17 games where they've given up either a game-tying or a go-ahead score in the fourth quarter. What's missing right now? Why aren't those plays being made when the game is on the line?
Well, we just got to have attention to detail, and like I say, offensively help them out a little bit, and and keep understanding those situational footballs and not try too hard to make plays. But we've got to be able to close games out, and we have to do that. And we'll just coach them better and do it. I mean, those are things that we constantly ask ourselves and our players, and we have open discussions on those types of things. And and sometimes you make them too big of a issue. They put crazy, you do crazy things, but at the same time, you got to be aware and understand how to play situational football, because that's one of the things that we've always done a great job of around here is playing those situations. And it's something we've got to continue to grow on.
Take us through the final drive, Coach. I guess really everybody looks at the touchdown play. For people that I don't want to insult anybody, but for people that didn't play football, it looks like you're impressed. You're in man there. What go through the thought process there for people who want to know what we were in and why that happened.
Well, that's the best thing we play. I mean, we can get rush. We got a rock. We got a safety over the top. We got an extra floater in the middle. We got locked on guys because if they throw a tight ball, McFadden hadn't given up a throw all day.
Right.
He had played man. He's as good a cover guy as there is in America. And they got to make an unbelievable play to make it. You don't mind it. Actually, the zone plays is where we had given up our plays.
Mm-hmm.
We had given those up, and we didn't feel, that the best thing we did was play man against them. We liked the matchups. He has great coverage. The guy makes a phenomenal throw and catch. At the same time, we can rush that way. We can lock the backs down when they can't dump it down because they got a timeout left, or slide one up the sideline and zone or something, or down the middle, which they had tried 2 or 3 times in the game, trying to slide seam routes up the middle, which are you're vulnerable to in the red zone when that things happen. And that's what we played the best. And really the play the guys is the play before when it was 3rd and 10, and we had some zone man combinations, which is what we were in.
Right.
And they ran a little whip route to get to shorten up the field goal. And basically we just missed the tackle. I mean, we got the guy. I mean, he's there. If we tackle him, they're kicking a 46-yard field goal to tie it the last play of the game. We missed the tackle, which allowed that. But we felt McFadden hadn't give up a play all year. He's as good a corner as there is anywhere. And, it's like you put him in, he's 6'3", and he's big, and we had him on the big guy, and we felt good, and they just made a play.
And sometimes it happens that way, and it's interesting. You bring up the play. Everybody sees the touchdown, but there are a couple of third down conversions that really you can go back to are the bigger deal there.
It was the 3rd and 10, which, we had the right call. We just missed the tackle. Had a little whip route. We play him well. We went to tackle him and just slid off. And they picked one up early in the drive on a seam route coming across, and you say, everybody hates the prevent defense. Don't play prevent. Well, you can play man, and that's the best way you can rush too, because you can turn those guys loose. But we got to keep getting the pressure, and that was the play. If we've got them down on 3rd and 10, that would have been real interesting.
Final question, let you go, Coach. All right, so obviously we're not where we need to be. 1-2 in the ACC. Yep. I know you're dissatisfied with that. Obviously, everybody gets frustrated, and then there's a lot of that, especially when expectations before the season. You got the 3rd-ranked team, and now you see a team that's 1-3. What's your message to the team? What do you tell guys? Are competitors? They fought. Nobody was quitting or anything like that. But what's your message now? Because sometimes when your goals are off the table, it can be very difficult to stay motivated.
You say team goals, but most guys here, in our world today, we talk about team goals, which are huge. But individual goals are big, too. They still got a lot to play with. Their careers, their futures.
I mean, who wants a GM seeing a team guys playing on a 1-3 team to make them come back and have a great year, just like USC was 1-3 last year.
Right.
Who was playing his tail off on film and saying, hey, I want that guy on my team. It's an individual time right here, and as you do that, you're going to help your team. You still have that responsibility. And after that locker room, there was a lot of guys down. I jumped them because they were sad. They were hurt. You could see it. I was hurt. But at the same time, don't hold your head. You played your hearts out. Hold your head up, and let's go play. We're going to have a heck of a football team, and we're going to individually, we're going to challenge and push those guys for the guys that have a future in this game and the guys, and as a team, and learning right now, what you're going to do is you're going to reveal what you're made of. You're going to reveal who your character is and who you are as a human being. And you don't always get those many chances in life to truly show who you are as a person. And we're going to show it, and they need to show it. And as they do, it will help our team, and I think we can finish the year out strong. But we got to just start it 1 week at a time.
Coach, I always appreciate it. Thanks for your candor, and I'll talk to you again next week. Good luck.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, take care. That's Jimbo Fisher, head coach, Florida State. And I think the challenge is now, obviously, is to latch on to something, whether that's each other, your aspirations in the game. As a player, the team goals are gone. But I think most people that are competitive don't just go through the motions just because some of the goals before the season are erased. As fans, it's incredibly disappointing, and you can ask the question rightfully, and the frustration mounts understandably. But the question is, what can be done about what's transpired now? Well, I think the things that have to be done in the offseason, and that's not an easy answer. And in the moment when you're losing and you're angry, and I am, and I know he is, and certainly the fan base as a whole are absolutely mortified with a 1-3 start. And I don't know how you couldn't be. You should be. At a place like this, it's not good enough. Absolutely, it's not good enough. So the questions are, what do you do to remedy this situation? Well, most people would answer that by telling you he's got to make changes on the staff. Fine. I don't disagree. I think he does too. But I don't think, that's going to affect week to week anything what you're doing here, anything that you're doing, because you got to play these games now. He's not firing anybody. Said it before this game. I'll say it now. He's not firing anybody in season. But I think you got to find a way to make a play. That's a damning stat. That's as damning a stat as there can be. The team has given up the game-tying or go-ahead drive in 7 of the last 17 games in the fourth quarter. And you ask the question, what has to happen for them to make those critical plays when the game is on the line? I ask a question, too, that would be, why are they so often in that situation with the talent that he's recruiting? Meaning, why are all these games, including the one you won against Wake Forest, always so close? It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia, and Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is a family-friendly restaurant serving high-quality fresh seafood at a great value since 1986. Wharf Casual Seafood's philosophy is that seafood can be affordable, fast, and top-notch quality all at the same time. No one brings families together like Wharf Casual Seafood. Visit their Tallahassee locations on Bannerman Crossing and the newly opened Mahan location at the Costco shopping area. Open 7 days a week. Visit wharfcasualseafood.com for more information or to order online. No need to drive when the coast is here.
You can always count on the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light, just like you can always count on Always Game Gary. No bar is too far. No wing sauce is too hot. Not for Gary. Gary is the man. He's nothing like Keith. Keith never wants to do anything. Why are we even talking about Keith? Always Game Gary is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Hey, Fido!
Yes, bud?
Hey, have you heard about that Hair of the Dog sports bar?
Yeah, it's all everyone's been barking about. It's Midtown's #1 sports bar with over 50 TVs, burgers, loaded nachos and wings, and a massive bar. Plus, Hair of the Dog is human-friendly, but you gotta keep them on a leash.
Sounds like a great place to watch those human teams play catch.
You mean football? Hair of the Dog Sports Bar, Midtown, North Monroe behind Brugger's. Best drink prices and juiciest burgers in town. Sexy French poodles, welcome.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All year I've been talking about our New For You program to assist good people with dings in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan. And come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Tom Lang. Sadly, the quest for the Platinum Bohica falls short this weekend as for the first time in 8 years, the University of Miami tops Florida State. This final was 24-20 as two fourth-quarter rallying drives from quarterback James Blackman. They end up falling just short. Asked today about the status of defensive coordinator Charles Kelly, here's what Jimbo Fisher had to say in his Monday afternoon press conference.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles will be our coordinator, and we'll go through this year, and hopefully we'll finish the year very strong.
Next up for Florida State is a noon kick at Wallace Wade this Saturday as Florida State travels on the road to take on Duke. Announced also today, Florida State Louisville in Tallahassee on October 21st. That will also be a noon kickoff. TV networks will be known after this weekend's slate of games.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experimag of Tallahassee. Experimag, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Where do you go from here? What do you want to see? I know what you want to see at the end of the year. But they're playing a game on Saturday against Duke, and it's at noon, and there'll be a lot of those. Louisville also at noon.
Not sure whether or not they're going to put it on ABC, ESPN, or ESPN2. Need to see how the cards fall this weekend.
Any chance they'll take that Boston College game on a Friday night, turn that into a nooner on like a Wednesday? I bet if you lose to Duke, they might. Kidding.
It's the pastry special.
I'm saddened that I'm not going up to Boston this year to cover the game because I would have had an opportunity to say hello to Steve Addazio, our next offensive line coach. Syracuse after that, probably a nooner. Delaware State a nooner. If Florida keeps losing, if we lose another game, maybe a little noon action at the end of the year in November.
Put that on Thanksgiving Day and compete with the Lions game.
Against Green Bay. Hey, by the way, so as if it's not bad enough to see the streak end, I had mentally prepared myself for the streak to end. I don't think I was in shock. Now, the way it happened hurts more than the actual loss. Not happy with the loss, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to beat Miami forever. Would have liked the Platinum Bohica to still be in play, and it was. With under a minute and a half to play, it's in play, and it would have been a brutal loss for Miami to take, given that that's a true freshman quarterback and all of the problems Florida State's had going into the game. But they make plays at the end, and they deserve the credit for making those plays. On the road, that's a big damn deal. I mean, if the shoe's on the other foot, there's just no getting around this. If the shoe's on the other foot and Florida State makes those plays down in Miami to end a losing streak to your hated rival, then you're going to be very proud of that, and you're going to brag about that, and you're going to feel really good about your team. And so right now, certainly Miami does. They have to be careful, though. That Georgia Tech game is a weird sort of game because Georgia Tech's rested. And you're coming off a rivalry game and you lose Walton. It'll be interesting. Now, I expect Miami to win that game, and they're in good position right now to represent the Coastal, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes now that they got that win and that monkey off their back. As for what's left for us, again, that's the hard part here because you really are playing for pride, playing for the spirit of competition, and trying to put together, salvage some sort of season. Jimbo is convinced, as he said in the interview and as he has said repeatedly, that he thinks the team that, I think the quote was, there's a good football team in there. We're going to find it. We're going to get it. It's so difficult because if I put myself in the shoes of the frustrated booster who gives tons of money and comes to every game and flies in from out of town and does all of that, you just don't want to hear that. You're not in a position to accept that that's what's left is, hey, there's a good football team in there. We're going to get it. We'll find them. Man, I need you to find them a little sooner than that. And I understand that sentiment. I get it. And you can rightfully ask tough questions right now about the direction of the program. There are plenty of people doing that. They're saying, look, it's trending in the wrong direction. Expect now recruiting to be affected by this. To that I say, admittedly, we'll see. It is vital now to monitor that. Let's monitor a few things. Tom and I were talking during the break. Does the defense continue to play with effort? I know they're not always playing well, and the standard that we hold them to that they're not living up to is why we're having the discussion of telling Charles Kelly to have a good day. I got it. But we need them to continue to fight, to play hard, and through stretches of the game play well to give you a chance to win these games so that you get bowl eligible. You win as many of these games as you can. You can only play the role of spoiler now. You try to gear yourself up to November 11th to be playing good football and give Clemson a scare, whatever it might be. And I know those aren't the goals that you had in mind before the season began. When you're preseason ranked number 3 and Bama's on the slate, the thought is you could win a game of significance like that and gain momentum and find yourself moving towards a college football playoff berth. But that's gone, and there are still games to play. So let's see if that defense continues to fight. And then I think secondarily, I am interested to see the growth of the freshman quarterback who I think really did show you some signs.
Well, that's the thing about watching this game again, removed from the roller coaster ride of the fourth quarter in the moment as an alum and hoping that the Platinum Bohica would be alive for another year. And I'm happy with a lot of the things that I see. It's just the way that thing finishes. It's so academic at this point that, you know, if you look at it the way I did, and I'll tell people now, because we talked about this off the air, and I hinted at it when we're talking on the air, Man Cave Show, whatever. My expectations had altered by this week. You know, and I the one thing I had said was, if you alter your expectations, understanding that that's complete BS, like
you
shouldn't
ought not have to do that. Right?
I got you, but I had gotten through that anger, I guess, on the flight up to Minnesota after the NC State game. Understanding that's what you have to do, you're going to have a lot of close games, and there's a lot of things that you can look to for next season. We shouldn't have to look to next season. I got you. I'm
Especially
angry about
not
that.
in the first week of October.
Right. But, you know, I'm looking at things that can help us moving forward. I hated for Derek Nottie, who comes back for his senior season. I hated for Derwin James and Trey Marshall and the guys that have been here, and they wanted to turn in one more memorable season up to the preseason expectations, up to the standard, and up to what we thought we were going to do. I hated for them. But I'm watching this game with an eye towards, all right, well, is James Blackman going to be the guy for us? Give me a sign today. Fourth quarter, he gives you all kinds of signs. And I'd been on Cam Akers preseason, early season, and I'll admit, too, you know, some of the vision and lack thereof.
Frustrating,
I say, well, all right, listen, you know, Dalvin is the best that there ever was here. But give me a sign that we've got something to work with here. And that 3rd and 1 run he turns in the fourth quarter when you have to have a first down on the way to taking the lead again, to me, that's the biggest run of the football game. I know he's got a truck stick moment. He fights off a couple defenders and breaks out for 40 yards. There are some great, amazing highlight reel runs. But I already knew that about him. 3rd and 1. Does he stick his head down?
Hit it up in there, baby.
Hit it up and go get you the first down in a big situation. He does. So things like that just made me so happy. And then, you know, 90 seconds away, the last 90 seconds happen, and the short term sucks. But I've got something to go on for 18. And honestly, I'm on James Blackman and Cam Akers' watch. I want to see if Tamorrion Terry can get in, you know, some real snaps, meaningful snaps this season, and begin to develop. I hate it for a defense that's veteran-laden, and it's going to be largely different next year. But that's where I was kind of before the game, and now, most certainly. It's like you hit a reset button, and we're looking at this and evaluating things for a completely different reason. I hate that we have to, but that's kind of where I already was before we kicked off on Saturday.
Yeah, I wonder how much he'll shift attention towards some of the younger players now that most of the goals, well, no, not most, all of the goals are off the table. It'll be intriguing to see because you got to do what's best for the kid at quarterback, and part of that is making sure that the receivers that are out there are knowledgeable and running the right routes and consistent and giving him a good look to learn from. And I will say this because I don't think he'd be mad at me for telling you this. I talked to Jimbo off the record before that interview for a good bit, and some of which I won't be able to talk about with you, but one of the things that he brought up repeatedly is how much he likes James Blackman and how much he sees in him. And I think that's obvious when you look at the way that the fourth quarter played out and the drives he put together and then the toughness and all that stuff that you see there and the throws. He's got real talent. He's got a lot of talent. But one of the things he kept talking about was that the mental toughness is on display at all times, in practice and in game. Because I mentioned that, you know, the TV cameras caught him coaching him really hard on the sidelines. I was at the game, obviously. So when I went back and watched the game on Sunday morning, I could then see what the cameras caught and what the announcers had to say, et cetera, and kind of going through that and watching plays closely that I, you know, didn't get a good look at in game. And there are a couple of moments when he's clearly very angry with James for not reading, especially the quarters coverage one where you see the cameras pick up. He goes, "That's quarters," where he almost throws the interception. There's a couple of moments where that's going on.
Yeah, he throws two, and that could have been a third.
Well,
Most certainly should have been a third.
Yeah, because he threw into quarters because he didn't know that's what they were in. And he's trying to tell him, your indicators are, and he lets him know. He told me what James said to him when he asked him, you know, don't you know that's quarters? And he's holding his hands up, and then he points to, what he's pointing at is what the indicator was. And he tells him again, and then James tells him what he thought it was and why. He's wrong. James is wrong, but the logic is there, and it makes sense. And Jimbo was happy about that. He was happy that, okay, you got it wrong, but that's not crazy. You're not completely fooled. You looked at the wrong indicator. Okay, and here's why, and now learn from this. And the point he was making to me was that when we have those give and takes, and I yell at him and say, no, I've told you this. This is what you're looking at, and here's why. He never gets down. He likes it. He likes the banter. Coach told me it reminded him of Jameis, but also Rohan Davey. When he would yell at Rohan only seemed to really listen, grasp it, move forward, get it, do it right when they got into it a little bit, when they were able to have a give and take. I think Coach Fisher likes that. So when you watch that, if you think, man, he's going to ruin that kid, because a couple of times you cringe where you're going, you can't yell at a freshman quarterback after every mistake, Coach. You can't, it does. It makes you cringe a little. Like, you're going to lose this kid if you scream him down after every incompletion or misread or mistake. But apparently that's not true. Apparently the kid loves it, engages in it, gives back what he's getting, and learns from it quickly. And that's a real good sign.
Don't ever want to lose to Miami. I haven't lost to Miami before Saturday since I was an undergrad.
It's tough.
I hate
to
that
stomach.
part of it.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to sound like I'm okay with the losses. All I'm saying is, after the Alabama game, you had 2 bits of evidence, and they showed you there's a lot of potential for this squad, and it's not being met. So, unless they came out and they absolutely whooped up on Miami, to me, the expectation was always going to be a little bit lower. And that's damning about the situation we're in, and I think changes are coming. I mean, you played the clip, analyzed the clip in the first segment. Of what Coach said about Charles Kelly. I think changes are coming, and what are you going to do for the next 2 months except look for it? It's like being a Major League Baseball fan of a team that's out of it, but you have a couple of prospects
bunch of young
you
arms you bring up.
It's September 1st. The rosters have expanded. You got 40 men on the roster. Let's see what these kids can do. Well, I'm not giving up on the veterans. All I'm saying is looking forward to a time when, perhaps we can exceed expectations or meet potential. What do we have working with us right now that we can develop into next season?
I'm going to pay very close attention to recruiting as well, because I think that's the other big thing here. You cannot see this suddenly slide into recruiting. They've recruited very, very well. But if you begin to see a drop-off there, we talk about what direction is the program going, what changes are going to be made, if any. Does Coach see what he needs to see, or is he too immersed in it? All these things, people ponder these things aloud and wonder, will he do what we think is necessary, or does he see it that way, or whatever it might be. But there's something that we all know to be true, and that is you sustain and get back to greatness through recruiting. If that begins to drop off, now you've got a real problem developing here, because, look, Miami is in a better place now that they're coached by Mark Richt, and they're meeting their potential, and they're also winning more battles on the recruiting trail than they've been over the last decade. So that program is trending in the right direction. Do they take a stranglehold to take back over the state? Do they move ahead of both Florida State and Florida in a way that is resounding, that leaves you kind of fretting what could be? Well, you'll be able to tell that in recruiting. Florida State has to continue to recruit at an elite level to get this thing back on track, in addition to perhaps some personnel changes made within the coaching staff. Irash Shafel, WarChant.com, joins us next.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahendra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
TNT. I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Noel fans, ESPN Tallahassee's official home for FSU watch parties in 2017 is Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Francois to throw for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Seminoles are going for the win.
The ESPN Tallahassee team will be on hand for every Seminole away football game with giveaways, a chance to win some great prizes, and to have a good time.
To the pylon. He's into the end zone for an FSU touchdown.
So, when the Noles hit the road, join us at Miller's Ale House on the Parkway, the official FSU watch party headquarters of your home of the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Authority.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Tom Lang. Sadly, the quest for the Platinum Bohica falls short this weekend, as for the first time in 8 years, the University of Miami tops Florida State. This final was 24-20 as two fourth-quarter rallying drives from quarterback James Blackman. They end up falling just short. Asked today about the status of defensive coordinator Charles Kelly, here's what Jimbo Fisher had to say in his Monday afternoon press conference.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles being our coordinator, and we'll go through this year and hopefully finish the year very strong.
Next up for Florida State is a noon kick at Wallace Wade this Saturday as Florida State travels on the road to take on Duke. Announced also today, Florida State Louisville in Tallahassee on October 21st. That will also be a noon kickoff. TV networks will be known after this weekend's slate of games.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experimag of Tallahassee. Experimag, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Jeff. That's Tom over there. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming, free always. Don't miss anything. If you do, we got you all 3 hours posted upon the conclusion of the program. What struck your funny bone?
Just the way you said hour number 2 kind of sounded like Corey's take on you saying
hour number 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should ask him tomorrow if we lose to Duke, would he do it?
Would he do it? Yeah. So if we reach a certain threshold of suck, just like excellence, so there's a ceiling and a floor.
It's like, would he provide relief to the people with just a little bit of laughter?
Number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have to. Well, I can ask him if we lose to Duke and say, like, mix in a loss to either BC or Syracuse. You'd have to do it, right? Then we could all do it. I think we could just spend a whole show, everybody just yelling hour number 2 and then going home. At Jay Cameron Show on Twitter, WTSM app. Use it for your mobile devices, and you can watch us perform our duties on the program by going to YouTube, type in ESPN Tallahassee. He is the managing editor of WarChant.com. He joins us every Monday. And before we bring him in, Irash Shafel, that is, play the clip of Jimbo Fisher and his expressing, I think Gene Williams wrote, expressing confidence in Charles Kelly, because I don't see it that way. Let's play this.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles being our coordinator, and we'll go through this year and hopefully finish the year very strong.
All right, let's bring him in now. Irash Shafel, WarChant.com. Hello, good sir.
Hey, Jeff. I actually think the hour number 2, if they lose to Duke, it should be the old FSU down in the gutter. Kind of like an hour number 2.
Yeah, like drunk in an alley, about to get kicked to sleep by Syracuse or somebody. Yeah. So
exactly.
Everybody has decided to play the role of the guy that parses answers and just tells the cops whether or not that was a legitimate answer, a truthful answer, or one that serves as a deflection. What are your thoughts on his answer regarding Charles Kelly? I thought it was pretty damning.
Well, it's one of those things that it depends on how you consume the answer. If it's in print, in the words, if you read the words. He said extreme confidence. That's all we can, as writers, that's really all you can do. You can't say, he said he has extreme confidence in him, but I could tell he really didn't have extreme confidence. So it's a challenge. That's why when we put up the story, we included a clip of Jimbo saying it, because really that's, let people make their own decision.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this, we've played this game before. I think, we've parsed words with Jimbo before, talking about assistant coaches and maybe not nailed exactly what he was thinking. So, he did not sound confident. You can hear it. You just played it. But at the same time, I don't think that's I don't know that he's made a decision. I mean, I think last year, with the way they were playing at North Carolina, the way they played against Louisville, I think he probably had a similar feeling, and then they righted the ship. So, I think it's hard to know, and I don't think he's going to make a decision to himself. I don't think until more information's in on the course of the season.
Speaking of which, this is yet another loss. They're 1-3. I know that you've written about it, and others have as well, about really uncharted territory here for Jimbo Fisher and in his Florida State program currently. It was hard because, on the one hand, obviously, as a Florida State fan or graduate or Florida State faithful of any kind, you're incensed. 1-3 is not good enough. You just lost to your arch rival after taking the lead in the last minute and a half of the game, and you've seen too many of these moments taken away by a defensive collapse. On the other hand, you may have watched an 18-year-old kid grow up before your eyes and make big throws with the game on the line in a rivalry game, and you saw some things from Cam Akers and others that you could feel good about. I guess give me your initial thoughts on this loss.
Yeah, I think that, kind of my overall takeaway is that, there is some improvement. But I think the overall big thing about this team is it doesn't make enough winning plays. And that's across the board. It's not just the offensive line. I do think it's interesting that we're all kind of grading the offensive line on a curve now. After the Wake Forest game, and people are like, "Oh, the offensive line wasn't that bad. They gave up 4 sacks,
mm-hmm.
But that wasn't that bad, compared to a week before."
Standards have been lowered, sir.
I just think that across the board, it's just a team that doesn't make enough winning plays. I mean, you're backed up and you're towards your own end zone. You really need your punter, who has shown a lot of potential, to help you out here, and he kicks a line drive, and it gets returned and sets Miami up with unbelievable field position. Then you need, the offensive line, gets a false start at a weird time. They haven't had that problem all game. Defensively, guys played unbelievably well in the first half, and then you have these breakdowns where, you're in cover 2 and you let a guy just get into a huge gap between the corner and the safety. So many little things this team does. And that's why, when Jimbo says we need to make another play or we're inches away, I mean, I kind of get where he's coming from. It's not like they're awful. It's just they don't make enough winning plays, and, enough of those breakdowns end up costing you games.
It's going to be interesting to see how they play moving forward, because we know that everything they desired to compete for is now removed as a goal. The team goals are gone. I asked Jimbo about that, and he said that's true, basically, but that individual goals are still in place. And, obviously guys want to play in the league, and they don't want to put tape out there that, they're going through the motions after a slow start to the season. But I guess I think we'll all be watching. I guess I'll just ask you, what are you going to be looking at most closely moving forward?
Well, I did listen to your interview, and I thought I think he's taking the exact right approach. I mean, really, the problem, and again, we saw this in the mid-2000s, and I've kind of had a feeling we'd see this again this year, was, when you have these teams that come in with high expectations and they don't accomplish them early in the year, our guy's going to play out the string. And I think he's taken the exact right approach. I think he's, telling these guys, look, you don't want it on tape that you're mailing it in. It's going to hurt you, even if you don't care about us. Even if you don't care about this team, do your job, play as hard as you can, because that's going to benefit you. And I think that's a smart approach. It's not the approach Jimbo wants to take. It's not the approach any coach wants to take. But I think it's the best approach he can take right now, and I think it'll resonate. Look, I mean, they have so many juniors and seniors on this team right now that want to play in the NFL next year. And, this is the best way to get them there. And at the same time, I think he has to take a slightly different approach with the younger guys and kind of reassure them, because clearly they've had some frustration. Dontavius Jackson made a tweet that Jimbo addressed today that I guess frustrated that he didn't play more in that game. And Jimbo said it was an internal matter. But clearly they've got, young guys who are a little bit frustrated right now. And so they're going to have to do a lot of coaching this year for this not to go off the track, because, like you said, this is kind of a historically poor start for a team that starts off that high in the rankings. And a lot of times when those teams start off in the top 3 nationally and have a really bad start, it's hard to turn it around. So these coaches, they have a lot of work cut out for them.
Do you think we'll start to see more of or less of guys like DJ Matthews and Tamaron Terry and players? I'm just talking about the young players in general. Obviously, we're going to see a ton of Cam Akers, but I'm just thinking of the freshmen and sophomore who you might want to get a better look at moving forward, because, well, frankly, this season's a wash.
I think there's some merit that in some certain situations, without question. And you have some guys who, again, this isn't. You never want to say we're playing for the future, but at the same time, if you have guys that have been making consistent mistakes, and you have younger guys on the bench, maybe you can live with their mistakes if there's potential there for the future and if they're hungrier. I will say this, I didn't think, again, that was a game where I didn't think FSU didn't play hard. I don't know that I've seen them not really play hard. I mean, NC State at times they look a little listless, but I think it was because they're just not playing well.
No, I think they're playing hard. Yeah, the effort's there. Effort's there.
They're not playing smart more than anything.
Well, it's a unique situation now, though. Because I think that Charles Kelly is probably gone, but you have all these games to play, and I just don't know what the reaction's going to be or how that's going to play out. I'd like to believe they're going to play hard and they're going to win their remaining games. Of course, that doesn't seem likely, but it's got to be a weird situation where some of the things that you could do to help remedy some of the problems and get past them is maybe bring a new set of eyes in here at maybe more than one position on the staff. But of course that can't happen for months now. I mean, you got a lot of games. Duke, Louisville, Boston College, Syracuse, Clemson, Delaware State, Florida. I mean, you got to go play these things.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I don't have any doubt that the coaching staff is going to be professional. Through the rest of the season, those guys are all veterans. It's not a young staff where you're going to have a lot of backstabbing and things like that. And I think for the most part, I think. Again, I think the players will respond to these guys to a degree, but I do think over the long term, I think Jimbo does need to make some changes. I think, I asked him about it today, just, does he feel like the message is getting through to these kids? And he, seemed to think it is, and that's not a problem, and they're always evaluating it. But I think that they definitely need to look at it. But, again, I don't know that it's all on the defense because, like, we said earlier, I think we're grading on the curve now in some other positions, and this is. I mean, it's a incredibly poor start record-wise. I mean, I know there's excuses. I know they played a tough schedule, but you start out number 3 in the country. You can't be 1-3 when 2 of those games were at home. And so, I mean, he has to evaluate everything without question.
Well, what ends up happening in stretches like this, in situations where you're coming off a 3-loss season, and, of course, the year before that, you had a 3-loss season, and in the moment, you're like, well, a new quarterback transferred in, and then the next year it's a redshirt freshman, and then this year a guy got hurt, and, after a while, you kind of stop doing that, and you start saying things like, well, they're 17-9 over their last 26 games. That ain't going to get it done. And when you start looking at winning percentage pre-post Jameis and all that stuff that starts to work in that, the sample size isn't as arbitrary anymore. You start getting enough data to say this isn't moving in the right direction, or without a transcendent quarterback, you're not able to do this, this, and this. So I would imagine, as he self-scouts and looks in the mirror and then starts to analyze exactly what's not sinking in, what's not getting through, and why is the record so poor, that he has real tough decisions to make. And so it will be interesting to see, is it at the end of the year a situation where he makes a change with defensive coordinator, or is it a situation where 3 or 4 guys are going to move out of here? I think everybody is anxious to see how that plays out. In the interim, I guess you have to really try to secure recruits and convince people that things aren't as bad as they seem. And you can only do that by winning games. And at this point, when you project forward, Ira, in your mind, what's still possible for Florida State? Do you see 2 or 3 more losses coming? I mean, yeah. I'm trying to get in your head here because I'm wondering, what is that record?
I mean, man, right now, if I had to put it on paper, I would say I think they're 5-5 going to Gainesville, and I think that that's a big game now. The ULM thing obviously is still out there, and they could always petition to get bowl eligible, but I think they're going to be 5-5. I don't see them beating Louisville the way we've seen them play so far. I certainly don't see them winning at Clemson. I just think that that's where they are. And to your point about what he's got, decisions he's got to make, I think whenever you talk to Jimbo about his assistant coaches and evaluating them, the first thing he seems to always talk about is how knowledgeable they are, that they're good guys, loyal guys, and I don't have any doubt that they're knowledgeable. There's no question, like you've said before, Rick Trickett is completely highly respected by pro coaches, college coaches everywhere. Charles Kelly I think he knows defense. I think he knows football. He's been around it a long time. He's been on good staffs. I don't think there's any doubt he knows what he's doing. But and you could go down the list. There's a couple other positions as well that have not performed all that well. But for some reason, it's not getting through to the players. These players are not playing at a high enough level and finishing plays and making enough winning plays and playing smart. It's just not happening. So you can't fire all the players, and Jimbo's not going anywhere. So, I think at some point you kind of have to make some changes. So I definitely think he has to make changes, and I think it's plural. But it's not to say those guys don't know what they're doing or they couldn't coach. It's just for whatever reason not working right now with this team. It hasn't the last couple of years.
Appreciate it, brother. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff. See you.
Take care. IrishFellWarChant.com. Well, I've said this. He's talking about something that we've had a pretty consistent conversation regarding, and that is, well, the acumen for the game is not in question. Nobody questions whether or not Rick Trickett or Charles Kelly understands the job or the technique or the strategies. But it doesn't matter. That's fine. Coaches in the NFL who get fired didn't get to the NFL because they don't know football. They didn't get to the NFL and get to a place where they could be a head coach of a franchise. I mean, you're entrusted by an owner, a billionaire owner, to steer the ship, not because you didn't prove in the interview process that you didn't know football. It's because you did prove you knew football, and you had a message and a goal, and you had a strong performance in that interview, and they believed in you. At some point, though, it's just about the results. And it doesn't matter that you know the game. Whatever your technique is, or whatever it is that whatever message you're trying to convey, if it's not sinking in and those players aren't taking that message to heart and then executing when the game is on the line, that's the very definition of not getting the job done. And all the knowledge in the world, it doesn't matter at that point. I mean, it's great. You know the game. Lots of people do. Even people sitting at home watching the game that played it to a high level and watch it every week and understand the nuance, they can call out, hey, this play's coming here by formation. This is what they're trying to do. But it doesn't mean they'd be a good coach. And something is not happening in that translation. So you're best to make a move and bring somebody else in here, a fresh set of eyes, a new voice.
Well, and that's why, last week the analogy was whack-a-mole. And, it cropped up again because the defense gave you every reason to believe through 30 minutes of play that you're going to be in decent shape here in the second half if you can just put some scoring drives together. But then out of nowhere, it's 250 or 280, whatever it is, and 280 and 24 points. The thing to me, it felt like everything was teetering for about 3 weeks here. More than that because we had the delay, with the hurricane. Yeah. So if you're just not even from a coaches and players standpoint, you're just talking from a media coverage, what's the season going to be like, and you're stuck in that limbo for a couple of weeks, and then you play the game against NC State and you lose it, and then you look like you do against Wake Forest. It just felt like this thing was teetering, like you're on a tightrope. Well, you've fallen off the tightrope. So now that we've fallen off the tightrope, let's have a different discussion. This is all done. We don't have to worry about 2017 and the expectations of 2017 anymore.
Because that thing is blown up, baby.
It's done.
Blowed up, as Emmitt Smith would say.
So, yes, blown out, yes. So now, do we watch games differently? Are we looking for different indicators? I think that's what's left here.
What are you looking for? Because I think, and this is what's interesting, we're all going to implore the defense to play well and for adjustments to be made and to be stout when the game is on the line. What happens if you get it? Like, what happens if they start doing it just as they did a year ago and right the ship? I mean, does that make a difference, or we're past that, right? That ship has sailed. It doesn't matter now. You got to go. Well, okay, I think most of us are leaning towards the you got to go. Fair enough. So what are you looking at each week? What is it specifically? Is it just player development, the kids that are going to be here next year that are going to have an impact? What are you looking for there? Just growth and understanding of the game and viable starters for next season?
Take over this team, one. This is your chance. You have a 2-month audition here.
If you're a young player right now, yeah.
Make no mistake, he's going to screw up at certain points here.
Right.
He's a freshman quarterback. He's going to leave you angry. Hell, we might lose a game because of him. We haven't done that yet, if you think about it. There
was a stretch during this game where it was looking like that very well could be the case.
Right,
because,
to start out the second half.
To start the second half,
pick.
he's starting to fall apart.
Yes. There's a good chance we're going to lose a game because of James Blackman. But you know what? You've got another 6-7 games an audition.
You might win one because of him too, though. You know, he is showing you enough of that too. I mean, there's a whole lot of what for in there.
So what do we got? You know, what do we have with you? What do we have with Cam? Can the development continue to where not only is he a physical freak and a weapon, but he's also a smarter weapon? I mean, and you've got a lot of players on offense that are juniors that might be coming back next year. So, you know, Auden Tate's having a hell of a season.
What a season he's having.
Maybe
yeah.
he doesn't want his next injury to be, you know,
one where he's not being paid.
Right, exactly. Jacques Patrick's a junior. I mean, you've got I know, but you've got a lot of players that you need to build around, and you need to form a new identity. And maybe
I wonder if you couldn't too. By the way, with some of the other running backs, for example, Labor and others like that. Guy,
yeah.
Why wouldn't they be on kick return? Why wouldn't they be on special teams? Right? I mean,
well, this is something we asked before there was an injury to 89.
I'm just saying. I mean, somebody else could be out there.
Right. Well, why is it Amir Rasul appears in the fourth quarter? You know,
it's weird.
Do we want to get him in some sort of rhythm before we put him out there and, you know, not give him the ball?
I think your future is Akers and Rasul and giving those two the football quite a bit.
But that's what I'm looking for is what can I work with next season? And does James Blackman have control of this team from a leadership standpoint and from a command of the offense and growth standpoint by the time we hit spring next season?
Certainly by season's
his
end,
team?
I think he will. And man, he is a really talented player. We're going to see him continue to make mistakes, as you noted, but he's also going to continue to make plays that kind of leave you, oof, you got that in there, do you?
Yeah, there's enough to be excited about with what you've seen from him to watch the games just to see how he develops alone. I mean, there's other things that you definitely want to see. I mean, Levante Taylor, Stanford Samuels on defense,
nice
more
players.
Hamza.
Yeah.
More of Marvin, you know, in the middle. I saw he got a lot of second half snaps in this game.
What's going on with D-Jack, I wonder? I mean, he's obviously very, very frustrated. I wonder what's happening with him at this point and why he in 2 series there. I mean, it's very strange.
I'm not saying you bench the seniors, but I'm just saying what am I looking for when the younger players are on the field? What do they do, and what does that mean for expectations moving forward?
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
That's TallahasseeQBClub.com.
Football is here, Tallahassee, and if you're not watching the games at Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out. With over 28 TVs, you'll never miss a second of the action. Kick your week off with Monday Night Football, where you'll get 2-for-1 wells, calls, and drafts all night long. Then there's Tuesday Night Trivia with Professor Jimmy. Go win yourself some money. What about lunch? Weekdays, pick from over 20 menu items for just $7.50, including a drink. What you doing for Thursday Night Football? How about the Fourth Quarter, where you'll get Get 225 domestic drafts, 275 domestic bottles, and $4 Jaeger bombs. No weekend would be complete without Bubbles and Brunch. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., get all the mimosas and Bloody Marys you can drink and a breakfast for $18.99. Can you say Uber? Knowles, Bucks, Jags, or Finns, no matter who your favorite team is, take it to 2033 North Monroe Street and watch them at Tallahassee's favorite football hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT Clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Contact your local CenturyLink retail store to enter for a chance to win the CenturyLink Ultimate Football Fan Experience, which includes a trip to the biggest game of the year. For eligibility and official rules, go to CenturyLinkFanForLife.com/FAQ. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Mahindra's inventory clearance is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth, like a Mahindra 750S Camo as low as $135 a month, or up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Football season is in full swing, and so is AAA One Transmission. AAA One Transmission is locally owned and operated by Tim Pridgett, who's been servicing the Tallahassee area for over 37 years. Brakes, transmissions, electrical systems, tune-ups, and battery checks. No matter what ails your vehicle, AAA One Transmission can make your automobile healthy again. Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop it at 1023 North Monroe Street or call them at 222-2532.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Give me the over-under on how long it took for you to shake this one off. Or did you go into the bottle? I don't mean that negatively. I mean that you went as a fan on Saturday as opposed to as a journalist. And I've done that. I did that down in Miami in 2014. In 2016, it's fun to do. It's fun to go down to those games and just be an alumnus, be a fan, be a supporter, and get silly and tailgate and cheer your head off and all that stuff. So when you do that, you're more emotionally involved than you do when you are covering a game, watching a game for the purpose of talking about it. I know you went back and did that again as well, so that we're both on the same page with Showtime. But in the moment, that's as a gut-wrenching way to lose a football game as there is. I mean, you have the euphoric moment that you take the lead on the throw the second you realize Auden Tate's open and that Miami has a busted coverage. And the kid sees it right away and throws a laser, and There's there.
A surge in the stands before he even lets go of the ball.
Well, I couldn't believe it. I'm watching on the roof, and you want to talk about evidence. This is, again, that perfect kind of copy you need. I'm watching. I go, oh, miscommunication. And I'm thinking the hardest thing in that situation is really it's about the throw and the catch when after you recognize there's a mistake can be harder than in the spirit of the play design, competition, timing. I got to throw now, 1, 2, 3, let it go. When you have a busted play and a guy's wide open, that can be a really hard throw to make, and that could be a really hard ball to catch because you got a lot of time to realize I'm open. This is for a touchdown to give us the lead, in the waning seconds of a football game. And it's executed perfectly. So anyhow, you get that play. It's thrown, caught, place goes berserk. You look at the clock immediately. You check Miami's timeouts. I know how the process goes. You double check. How many timeouts do they have? Okay, they only need a field goal. All right. You do all that. At what point did it shift for you to, oh no, they're gonna throw one in the end zone here? Is it after the second time we're gashed with a run and they get across midfield and you start going, well, now they got enough time to score a touchdown? I'm getting a little concerned because we all saw this defense. Unfortunately, we've seen this defense do this too many times.
Yeah, in that moment, I'm concerned when they cross the 50. But then once it's 3rd and 10, I'm thinking, well, if they kick this, they're not going to make it.
He's not going to make it
because this is how this rivalry works.
Right.
So
whatever can inflict pain upon them.
Right. Well, I mean, not just that, but I mean the history of the rivalry itself. Like if it comes down to a kick to force overtime, not to win the game, they're not going to make that. We're not going to overtime here. So when Berrios makes the catch on 3rd and 10, I think, all right, not a big deal, 40 whatever yards. But
46.
Then he's not tackled, and he gets up the sideline. I go, ooh, well.
Okay, this is getting interesting.
This will go to overtime because now it's within the threshold of,
kind of a chip shotty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Save for a block.
Yeah.
I don't think the kid's going to miss, which happened last year.
Yeah.
I got you. But I don't think the kid's nerves are going to get in the way of this kick this time. And then they make the throw. It's just you're stunned because of the nature of the throw, and I get it. I'm not happy about the coverage either. I don't think.
I think they're in the right coverage. But I'm okay with it. You got you don't have use better technique.
Well, I mean, Jimbo kind of said to you he's got a robber or something. So that to me, that's one high. They're playing one. I mean, you might need help to make a tackle at the 2 or 3 yard line and make them make a decision. But that back shoulder throw isn't even that well executed. Like if it's where a traditional back shoulder is. McFadden's kind of in position.
It's a hell of a catch.
It's so far behind him that it ends up being perfect. And the catch is unbelievable. The body control. To me, I was kind of numb after it. I wasn't angry. I was just kind of numb. I was like, wow. So you're going to tell me that happened. And because Wake Forest happened before it, the way it did.
Right.
And because NC State happened. Remember, Georgia Tech, the walk-off?
No, we weren't even angry.
I wasn't angry because of the way Miami went weeks earlier, how you're messing around with opportunities here. You have a chance to put a team away and you don't. This is the kind of thing that can happen to you. As crazy as that was, you put yourself in this position. And to me, in the same way, I was just kind of already numb because of what I had seen the last 2 weeks where that happens. It's unbelievable. But anger, no, not as much as you would think.
It's interesting because in years past, with a Florida State-Miami rivalry being as intense as it is, losing in that fashion would have, I guess maybe if pre-7-game win streak, losing in that fashion would have been crippling. But you are aware that you're not going to win that series annually for the rest of eternity. I mean, you're going to lose at some point. I had the ability, believe it or not, I think to in the moment, recognize that I just watched one hell of a fourth quarter. That just in the spirit of college football and the rivalry itself, saw one hell of a fourth quarter. I mean, that's if you can take a step back and get out from under the fandom and the loyalty and all that, you can say to yourself, "Wow." But I also thought that's 150 yards and 2 drives. In 15 plays. 15 plays to put up 150 yards and score twice after you've been caught and surpassed by a freshman quarterback. What a shame. What a shame for that kid is what I thought.
Well, to me, I got to give my girlfriend credit, too, because I think if I said one word, I would have gotten angry, but it was just, let's just
walk.
Let's just walk. Let's get to where we're going.
Yeah.
Let's walk.
There's beer
focus.
where we're going.
Right. Like let's just go where we got to go.
Yeah.
If I started to engage in a conversation right then and there, I think the anger would have boiled over just to anybody talking to anybody about the game in that moment.
I drove home in silence. I didn't turn the radio on. I didn't listen to the post game. I didn't. I knew I could go back and find it if I want. I drove in silence, staring straight ahead. Until I encountered a damn monsoon. By the time I got out to Killearn.
You did, yeah.
I was like, whoa. I called you.
I could hear it, and
then I was like, dude, I got to go. I was like, it's gotten out of control here. I can't see, and I'm talking to you. I'm getting off the phone. I walk through the door, and my wife goes, are you okay? Because she knows how seriously I take this rivalry. I go, I'm fine. The team's not okay. They're 1-3, and this thing is, spiraling into a side of the mountain. Do I have a Cigar City in there? Oh, yeah, you have 4. Oh, Good. That's how that went. Good is what I said calmly, and then sat down to watch the night games.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, now, frankly, maybe this will tell you something. Maybe I just repressed it very nicely. But I didn't watch it again until this morning. I didn't do it yesterday.
Wow.
I put it off.
Well, I have
yesterday.
to interview Jimbo on Sundays, so I got to make myself watch it on Sundays before I come in here. I don't want to misstep and think I saw a play that I didn't or whatever it might be, because he has a photographic memory. He will know exactly what play I'm talking about, and if I screw it up, he'll tell me.
He did that in the press conference today with questions about Berrios and which touchdown.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But, when Berrios scores a couple, it's like, well, which one was that?
Yeah, he's good. And he had himself a day, didn't he?
He did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did. I mean, including the return.
Well, damn it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so what are we doing? There is a weird thing going on in college football. I'll talk about it next. It has nothing to do with Florida State and Miami. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Italian food and a Pepsi. Indulge your taste buds and experience all the flavor of Italy right here in Tallahassee. Visit Urban Food Market today, located in the center of Tallahassee. Urban Food Market, proud to serve Pepsi.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSupercenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Want to transform a room for less than $20? The Home Depot has the secret formula. We call it paint. From our top brands like Behr and Glidden, starting at just $17.97 a gallon. There's no easier way to take your walls from okay to, oh wow. And at these prices, there's no reason to leave any wall behind. Get your project rolling with top paint brands, starting at only $17.97 a gallon at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. US only.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, T-I-X-X. Enter the coupon code ESPNTally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos Burritos, baby.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Tom Lang. Sadly, the quest for the Platinum Bohica falls short this weekend as for the first time in 8 years, the University of Miami tops Florida State. This final was 24-20 as two fourth-quarter rallying drives from quarterback James Blackman. They end up falling just short. Asked today about the status of defensive coordinator Charles Kelly, here's what Jimbo Fisher had to say in his Monday afternoon press conference.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles will be our coordinator, and we'll go through this year, and hopefully we'll finish the year very strong.
Next up for Florida State is a noon kick at Wallace Wade this Saturday as Florida State travels on the road to take on Duke. Announced also today, Florida State Louisville in Tallahassee on October 21st. That will also be a noon kickoff. TV networks will be known after this weekend's slate of games.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experimag of Tallahassee. Experimag, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stop in at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
There's some people out here leaving a lot of money on the table, like a ton of it, and I find it odd. You see what's going on at Oregon State? That was $12 million that a coach voluntarily decided to walk away from. That is unimaginable.
It's the opposite of kiss my ass on Main Street.
It is. Gary Anderson, the head coach at Oregon State, announced that he had agreed mutually to part ways with the program. They're like 5-21 under him. They're miserable this year. They're one of the worst Power 5 teams in all of college football, if not the worst. So they're having a tough go. He hadn't been there that long, but he just signed an extension. They were trying to show that they still were behind him for the long haul. But he agreed to release Oregon State from all future payments and contract obligations. And that number was $12 million that he chose to walk away from. And I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think that I've ever seen. They would have had to have paid him $800,000 for this year, $2.75 million next year, $2.85 million in 2019. His contract ran through 21. $2.95 million for 2020. $3.5 million for 2021. He said, nope, not getting the job done, riding out. You guys keep the money. What?
They've got photos. That's the only way that makes sense.
Okay, so you're with me on this. There's no way Holmes just decided, peace, I'm going to ride out and not take my $12 million with me. No. Or if you're miserable and you're losing a lot of games and the fans are getting angrier by the moment, you think maybe a fresh start is needed on both sides. You walk in and have your attorney negotiate the departure. Maybe you realize, okay, I'm not going to get all $12 million here because I'm willing to walk. I'm willing to leave some on the table because I'm that miserable. In the university, who doesn't want to pay the buyout in full, says we probably do need a change, and the man will take $6 million. Let's just give it to him and tell him to have a good day. But you don't say, screw it, I don't want anything. You just don't do that unless they got pictures. I agree. I thought the same thing. Something else is up.
Or unless you've got so much money stowed away that we don't know about. Maybe your wife is a CEO of a company or something, and she's making 10, 12. Even then, that doesn't make sense.
It's $12 million.
Yeah.
My man, what in the world is going on there? You know what's odd? I don't remember when it was. I was listening on the radio. Okay, so I have Sirius XM, and on college football Saturdays, if I'm coming back from our game, I'll flip around just to catch the other games on the way home. And I think it was a week ago, I caught his pregame. I'll be honest with you. I love to listen to other pregame shows. Like, even though I don't care about the team, I want to hear how they do their pregame show. I want to hear how it's, I'm being.
Oh, you're putting your sports director
right,
cap on.
I'm being radio guy. I want to hear it. I want to see if there's something we can steal from it. I want to see if there's something they do well that we don't, or the opposite. I want to hear if there's something we do really well that I think others do poorly, and just to get a gauge where that sits, right? And I'm interested in radio. So I want to hear these things. I happened to be listening to Oregon State's pregame show before they got stomped. And he was being interviewed, and the play-by-play announcer is just like Gene Deckerhoff does with Jimbo. The play-by-play announcer is the guy doing the interview for Oregon State. And quite clearly, it's on the table. They both know, look, this is miserable. Your team's terrible. The team isn't competitive. I don't know. It's a tough thing to have to ask, right? And
what do you want me to ask other than, the fact that you lost again?
Again, always, steady losing. What he did was he said, Coach, certainly, the effort has still been there. And, we get into that kind of stuff, right?
Your graduation rate, Coach, is exceptional.
Extraordinary. These kids really are student athletes. Anyhow, so he answers the question, and I obviously didn't know they were on the precipice of parting ways, but he goes, well, we know it's not good enough right now. We certainly know that we're nowhere near where we want to be, and, go Beavers. I was like, okay, it can always be worse. And I think that sadly is a hell of a sentiment when you're thinking about this season, that a few times on Saturday, I did the thing I did during the lost decade, and I'm not equating the two, but when you're 1-3 and your goals are off the table, I did look at Michigan losing in the Big House to Michigan State. I mean, every year D'Antoni just drops his pants on Harbaugh. Just get you some of that, Jim. Yeah, great coach you are. How about losing at home to us? Another loss to Michigan State. We're not even any good. Suck it. So there's that. And then I thought about how difficult it had to be Oklahoma cruising to a win. And then the second half happens, the fourth quarter happens, and you just lost to Iowa State, and they're planting flags and making fun of you, and it's Iowa State. Goodness gracious, sir. And so I thought that's a toughie. And then I kept going through all these different places and just kind of commiserating with their fan base in the moment. I hate doing that. It's what you do when you're losing.
Yeah.
But I did. I was like, look at them, and look at them. And imagine being an Arkansas fan. Fat-ass Bielema out here just stealing. Day in and day out. You're getting stomped by South Carolina.
That's the crowd of people after closing time looking at each other saying, yep, I've got a full one because I thought ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that's they got killed by South Carolina. South Carolina. What in the world are we doing here? Woo. That's a toughie. That's seriously, if you're Arkansas, I was thinking about that professor that got kicked out for drunkenly yelling at Fat Bielema. I can't imagine what he's saying these days.
They let him on the field this time. They're like, come on.
With a shiv.
Yeah.
I mean, what in the world? I mean, it's bizarre. But, no, that's not what you do. I'm not saying embrace that. Hey, embrace the suck. Don't worry about it. Lots of people are. No. But, yeah, I caught myself thinking through it's a toughie.
I agree. The embrace the suck thing is never okay. This is a program where you can never embrace the suck.
No.
After you're done looking and thinking back and looking at the box score and seeing the replays over and over and over again on the nightly news, ESPN, whatever.
Right.
Is there any part of you that says, well, okay, I can't change what just happened, but at least we can advance the discussion from here? Perhaps now we're at a point where where we can advance the discussion about not if there are going to be changes, between this point now and next year, a calendar year away?
The way I read into his answer today solidifies what I already thought. And again, the hard part about that is nobody likes to be told, well, next year they've got a chance to look differently because they're going to make these changes at the end of this year. It's just so early to have that conversation that it really sucks the air out of a room. I mean, it's very difficult. You love college football. You wait year-round for the start of college football. We sit around starving for college football. That the first inkling that they're going to throw the pigskin around and put on a set of pads, we all drool. And so you wait and you wait and you wait and you find things to dive into, to try to find entertaining. And I'm not talking about on a personal level. I'm talking about sports talk radio, my job, what we do, but also as a fan and alumnus, all them. We do all of that stuff, right? And then it's like we hurry up, we get to this place, the expectations are through the moon, and then now, whoosh, that's it. Done. Over. But they're still playing, and there are things to do, and that's a very difficult place to come to grips. It's a very difficult time for the program, for the coach, for the fans. And the problem is it can't be remedied in a timely fashion. You have to wait.
Well, yes, I know. For people up here in Tallahassee, businesses and all that, season ticket
it's
sales,
devastating. It's devastating. It's not good.
But maybe it's just because of, again, the 2 weeks of NC State and Wake Forest. I'd already kind of moved on from that, and I hated the way we lost on Saturday. I'm still not happy about it.
No, it sucks.
But you can now look to the more realistic thing, the more realistic path, even before we lose to Miami, which is what moving parts do you have that you can take with you? And I think, again, fully understanding and fully admitting that I am displeased that the Platinum Bohica shall not be. That is devastating. And the way it happened is even more devastating. Can we now start the new conversation? Can we now start the next conversation, which is there are going to, instead of will there be changes, I think there are going to be. Now they're going to be.
It would be ridiculous. No, listen, that's a really different conversation, by the way. If we get to the end of this year and changes aren't made, then all of a sudden, that's a very different conversation. Let's put it that way.
Reasonable people can agree all now that, even if you were on that side of the fence a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, we can all agree. I think those things are going to happen. So now can we look at this team and say, all right, well, what do we have? What are we working with? What kind of talent do we have moving forward? There's freedom in that, too, if you can flip that switch.
A lot of freedom.
We should never have to flip the switch. I get it. I'm pissed about it, but what can you do? You're 1-3.
A lot of switch flipping early in October the last couple of years. That sucks. I do think it's fun sometimes once you've embraced that shift, like you just mentioned, to play the role of spoiler. It's not ideal. You don't want to have to be that, but might it be interesting to beat a Louisville or a Clemson, God forbid, on the road? I think the other thing is you begin to very closely monitor the culture, the locker room, the team dynamics between coaches, and because this is important that you don't lose these kids. If they stay invested and work hard and they're just not good enough because some coaches have let them down, then okay. But if you begin to sense there's a quit, like that was the most alarming aspect of a year ago, that everybody, you almost got a little sick in your, you almost threw up a little bit, realizing, oh no, that's usually the beginning of the end.
And that has not happened this year.
No, not at all. No.
Yet.
But you're going to listen and watch very carefully to see how this team attempts to pick up the pieces and go about the process of getting better and winning football games. You got to start winning some damn games. It starts this Saturday at noon at Wallace Wade. You got to go beat Duke.
I'm saying partially in the spirit of being efficient. Like that conversation won't be had about who the next person is or
well, also you start to begin to vet the process of who is it you want.
Right. Well, but those conversations, the availability of certain candidates, all that stuff, man, that's still a couple of months away. So let's work with what we've got now.
In the Cameron household, it started. I'm starting to talk to my kids and my wife.
Well, instead of yelling about
years, I'm like, who would be a good coordinator?
Instead of yelling about the failures of the current,
yeah.
What good is that anymore? Because now I think everybody, well, not everybody, there are going to be sycophants, but most reasonable people would agree, you probably need to do something now. So good. Great.
We got a game at noon on Saturday. Does my quarterback continue to develop and turn into perhaps a face of the program? Does Cam Akers continue his development? And do we have something here?
There's going to be no question
in the next 3 weeks where you say we might be a little bit more dynamic on offense than I ever imagined after the NC State game.
They're not going to take a step back, and meaning the young players. Cam Akers is going to continue to get better, and you know I don't think there's any doubt. James Blackman. We said this at the time that he was announced to be taking over. At that point, I said, "Wow, you're going to go with a true freshman." Well, it's going to be a rocky road, but I'll tell you what, by the end of the year, you're going to see things. Well, you're already starting to see things.
Well, it's one thing, let's say, if you're like Michigan last year and you've got seniors across the board on both sides of the football. This would be a really long 7 weeks. You'd go, my God. I mean, all of these kids are gone next year. But there's enough youth around this lineup on both sides where you say, all right, well, what are you? Because now you're going to get, you know, a handful of more games against really good opponents, or at least potent enough opponents, that if you're not thinking the right way and you're not reacting to your coaching the right way, then you're going to be penalized for making an incorrect decision, for playing dumb. So let's see, are you smart enough? Can you develop? Can you use this to your advantage? Because then by the end of the season, if those kids play well enough, you're excited again for 18. And if there are a couple of changes that come along with it, everybody's going to be A-okay. It's just for right now, for the next 7 games or whatever it's going to be, you can't be yelling about the same things over and over and over again. It's been proven. It's happened on the field. I think we're done with that part.
Do you have a second team you root for?
Well, the Longhorns are going to get their ass kicked by Oklahoma now. I think Iowa State is sure that Texas is in for a long Saturday this weekend. Have you seen that slate? Oh, my goodness.
I've avoided the slate because here's what I've come to discover about what this season is. It doesn't matter what the slate is. Every game Florida State plays is compelling. It doesn't matter who we're playing. It's going to be close. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Voted Best Wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens. $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m., 7 days a week, $7.95. Daily specials. Locally owned and operated since 1978. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill. 3 locations to choose from. 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT Clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, introducing Nissan's Express Service.
Express Service means oil changes in 45 minutes or less.
With no appointment necessary. Here's how it works. When you come to Kraft Nissan for an oil change, you're greeted by a dedicated Express Service advisor. Sign the advisor's iPad and have a seat in our waiting room. A team of 2 lube technicians will immediately take your car directly to service and complete the oil change. And remember, Kraft Nissan services all makes and models. We sell tires for less. Compare us to the box stores and compare us to the tire stores. We'll beat their price. Plus, new tires come with free rotations for the life of the tires. We also have our Value Advantage line of parts that are priced to compete with aftermarket and parts stores, but still have full Nissan factory warranty. So competitively priced that Kraft Nissan will give you a 30-day price match guarantee in writing. And we offer the Kraft Nissan service card, same as cash for 6 months on purchases over $299.
So give us a try. Oil changes in 45 minutes or less and no appointment necessary. Just stop by.
Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Service card with approved credit.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Tom Lang. Sadly, the quest for the Platinum Bohica falls short this weekend as for the first time in 8 years, the University of Miami tops Florida State. This final was 24-20 as 2 fourth-quarter rallying drives from quarterback James Blackman. They end up falling just short. Asked today about the status of defensive coordinator Charles Kelly, here's what Jimbo Fisher had to say in his Monday afternoon press conference.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles will be our coordinator, and we'll go through this year and hopefully finish the year very strong.
Next up for Florida State is a noon kick at Wallace Wade this Saturday as Florida State travels on the road to take on Duke. Announced also today, Florida State Louisville in Tallahassee on October 21st. That will also be a noon kickoff. TV networks will be known after this weekend's slate of games.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experimag of Tallahassee. Experimag, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least 4 today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. But if you do, remember, all 3 hours going to be posted upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. So go find it. You can always use that WTSM app for your mobile devices. You can get into the audio vault there that way, too. Email the show if you want, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameronShow. And on YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. Obviously, for those of you just hopping into the car, getting off of work, you're ready to roll up out of here. And I don't know, maybe you want something lighthearted, but we're talking about the Florida State loss to Miami that ends a streak of 7 consecutive victories. The Platinum Bohica is not meant to be. Damn it, man. It's elusive. Very, very difficult to get to 8 wins in a row, certainly 10. So the Noles fall, and they do so in dramatic fashion. And as devastating as that is, I think the disappointment isn't just a loss to Miami, which is always bad. But it's been a while. You accepted that at some point you were going to lose to Miami. It's the way it happened, and it's that your young quarterback, who really had probably fallen to a pretty low place in terms of confidence after making a couple crucial errors in the second half and a couple really questionable throws, picked himself back up and made big plays with the game on the line. Put together huge moments for a freshman starting in just his third game to make those throws, to get your team back into a place and a position to win a football game and to sustain the streak and to maybe win that football game when it looked like it was about to slip away is a huge development. It's a big deal, but it comes alongside a loss, and that is really aggravating. And I think, obviously, to say nothing of a 1-3 start, which is not acceptable, not okay. It's happened. There's no getting around it. And now you're asking the question, what's left to play for? Of course, you'll hear from Jimbo Fisher this hour. I interviewed him last night, and I thought we had a candid conversation. I thought he was good in the interview. I talked to him off the record as well, and he was blunt and straightforward, and you can sense his frustration. I could certainly sense his aggravation with where they're at. At the same time, I wasn't surprised, especially when I went back and watched the game again, that I knew he would have some things to say about where they're at that he's encouraged by. It's hard to speak to those things after a loss, especially a loss in a rivalry game. It's hard to speak to those things when you're 1-3 and you were preseason ranked number 3 in the country. I got it. It's hard to speak to those platitudes and positive notes that you have as a coach about a player or a scheme or a moment or a play when, in fact, the team goals for the year are now off the table and it's only October the 9th. I got you. But the larger discussion outside of what's going on in the locker room and the way the season is played out that takes place amongst the fan base is this the kind of loss that at least ensures change? Because that's where the fans are now, that they want to see change. And I don't think, for the vast majority of them, that when they say that, they mean the head coach. I think that they mean assistant coaches, that Jimbo has to wake up and realize, hey, it's great to be loyal. I understand it. And sure, the acumen is not in question for these players. Coaches, they're smart guys. They wouldn't have been here otherwise. But there's something lost in translation. It's not working. Their knowledge being passed on. There's something that's missing, and maybe you need a new set of eyes here. I think at some point you do have to hold people accountable. It's not okay that you have NFL caliber players sprinkled throughout this defense, and then they give up back-to-back 75-yard drives after your team has taken the lead after said freshman quarterback drives them down the field and puts you in a position to win the game. And if it were something that happened here or there, and it was just that kid made a great throw and that kid made a great catch, and kudos to Miami for making the plays, which, by the way, kudos to Miami for making the plays. They made the plays when it would have been easy for a team that's lost 7 in a row to say, here we go again. There was all kinds of game pressure put on Miami that I talked about all week long. Can you put game pressure on them in the fourth quarter, make them remember that they've lost 7 straight, and then see how they respond? Well, credit to Miami and then some. They responded with huge you-know-what to make those plays. But it isn't unique. This defense has made a living out of giving up big plays when they have to step up and make critical plays after their offense has given them the lead. Is the offense without blame? No. See the first half. Dominate the football game, tons of possessions on Miami's side of the field, and you come up with a grand total of 3 points? Bad. But you did enough in that second half to win the football game, and your defense let you down again. And it's the 7th time in the last 17 games that your defense has either given up the lead or has either given up a go-ahead score in the fourth quarter or a score that leads to a tie. That's dreadful. That's a defense that, when the critical moments are in play, the moments that win you football games, they simply cannot consistently get a stop. And that's, I think, going to lead to a change in the offseason.
Well, and that's where the discussion comes to today, and what Coach offered up in his 1 o'clock press conference, and it was a comment that got people's heads turning.
Well, and we'll play that comment for you right now because I think Ira was right last hour when he said, if you just look at it in the cold words in print, you would say, oh, well, he's supporting his defensive coordinator here, But I think if you hear it, and certainly if you saw it, it doesn't sound that way. And I think it's very critical what he says there towards the very end of this statement. He was asked, and by the way, I'm paraphrasing here. I think it was Matt Baker down with the Tampa Times asking the question about the status of Charles Kelly, defensive coordinator, Florida State. And here's Jimbo Fisher's answer to that.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles being our coordinator, and we'll go through this year and hopefully finish the year very strong.
So, it's an acknowledgement that the defense hasn't played well enough because he's saying hopefully he can finish really strong, which means that he hasn't started well. Secondly, the whole line about we'll get through this year, go through this year. Well, I mean, that's certainly not a ringing endorsement for the future of Charles Kelly. So, I don't know if he'll feel differently as the year goes on. Certainly something changed a year ago. First of all, results. They got better, won 7 of their last 8 games, and ended on a high note. The thought, by the way, if you're wondering, let's get into this for a second because this is a pretty persistent question. I get a lot of this on Twitter, get a lot of this in email, get a lot of this when I'm out and about. Why didn't he make changes last year? Wasn't there enough evidence at the end of last year when you took the whole season into account and you went game by game? Wasn't there enough evidence that you weren't getting the most out of your 5-star players and that they weren't living up to expectation and reaching their potential? And if they're not going to reach their potential and they're not going to be in a consistent position to succeed or they're not executing, that kind of disconnect, you can't have it. You got to move on and give yourself a fighting chance moving forward to get the most out of some really talented players like Derwin James, et cetera. And in that defensive line, which we knew would be good, et cetera. I believe that there was a fear with Alabama looming, with that being the game and it not being Louisiana Monroe to start the year, but instead Alabama, that he wanted continuity. That because they had kind of righted the ship, I'm sure that masked to some degree the very obvious problems that we've been kicking around now for the better part of a couple seasons. In addition to having to implement, a new scheme, a new coordinator, build those relationships, build their methodology, all of that stuff. I don't think he wanted to engage in that this offseason because the Alabama game loomed and he wanted to keep continuity. But if you carry over inconsistencies and you carry over average play from an elite talent group, well, it gets you what you got now.
Yeah, to me, I wanted it to be A-OK for Charles Kelly this year because I like him.
I do too.
I think he's...
Everybody does. There's nobody who works with him or interviews him or has had any interaction whatsoever with him that doesn't like him. But that's just really, at this point, as you know, a moot point. He's just not getting the job done.
You hear the clip of him getting emotional talking about Coach Fisher, showing a vote of confidence in him after 2014, sticking with him. And then the 2015 season, what I thought was a really well-done season. I know they weren't top 5 across the board like they were in 12 or 13, but I thought that defense was good enough to win you an ACC championship if your offense just had a little bit more that season. And then last year happened, and it's unfortunate, man. If it was a nice guy's business, then Charles would have a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
But it's a brutal business. I thought Ira really hit it on the head last week in his column when he's talking about this is like CEOs and shareholders. This is what Florida State traded in the Bobby Bowden era for. Systems coach. It's professional-like.
Process
Process-oriented.
Job gets done or it doesn't.
Results or not. The process is there, and it needs to be in line, and that's how you get the results. But the results are ultimately what we're judging a coaching staff by. It's not about the feelings. And unfortunately, what more evidence do you need at this point? The 7-17 is the damning statistic, and I don't want to say I knew Miami was going to score on that drive once they crossed the 50, but I just hope that maybe
you started to get that bad feeling in the pit of your stomach, didn't you?
I mean, think about it during the course of the game, too. How many near picks does Rozier throw from the first quarter?
Derwin's got one, and yeah.
I mean, no, there's 5 or 6 where, if you come down with it, who knows what? And he does throw one in the end zone when Miami really has momentum there, and you're thinking, well, here we go again. But then it looked like a Kaye interception because it neutralizes the the momentum they were building in the second half. So the plays just aren't being made. What more can you do? There's nothing more you can say. And I hate it for the guy, but what more after that game's over? That's in my head. I'm thinking, well, what more can you say?
Well, listen, man.
That's what happens. You're 1-3.
That game's a microcosm of his time here, and really what we see consistently right now, which is the inconsistency, right? I mean, on the one hand, there's always a glimpse of what could be. They had 57 yards, Miami did at halftime. 57. 0 points and 57 yards. Complete and utter dominance. And you're thinking, well, good on you, Charles Kelly. This could be your day. This team may win this game 13-7, and you'll be a conquering hero for an afternoon. But then the second half happens, and it's 24 points and 280 yards out of nowhere. 150 of those come on the final 2 drives after your freshman quarterback is taking you down to take the lead. After that kid pulled himself up by the bootstraps after looking terrible, he comes back, makes the plays, makes the throws. You have the lead at home, fourth quarter, less than a minute and a half to play, and you give that up. It can't happen. And so at some point, you're right. It's about whether or not the job gets done, the production. And what we have seen now is that is consistently the case, that they have moments, but not enough of them, and they don't string them together when they have to have it late in football games.
You said it the best.
7 and 17?
Yes.
7 times in 17 games, giving up the lead in the fourth quarter with this defense right now. That's woo. If you're an elite defense and they have elite players, and I said this in the first hour, this is the biggest thing about, hey, it's not a matter of kicking around opinions and all of that stuff. Here's what you do know. You know Florida State's recruited exceptionally well on both sides of the ball. But in particular, over the last couple of years with this defense, you see kids that are going to be drafted. You look out there now. You go look at any site that projects which of these players, where they'll go, what they're rated, and you see no fewer than 6 of these guys starting for us right now on defense, Tom, are going to be playing in the NFL, big-time players. And when you don't get the job done and you have that kind of talent, that can only be coaching.
Right. And yes, to have it happen that many times. But to me, it's not just the situation of having the lead in the fourth quarter and the 7 of 17. It's the third downs that get the team down the field.
We've seen some 3rd and 20s, 3rd and 17s, 3rd and 10s. So I don't know.
Are we about consistency in situations or are we not? And if I think I know what the answer is, yes, we are, then a change has to be made. I hate it. That guy is everything that's right with a professional who's loyal to somebody who shows trust in him.
Sure.
But you got to have results, man. I mean, this is why Bowden was kicked out the door. If it was about being a nice guy, well, I bet he'd still want to be coaching. But you know what I mean?
Well, listen, I think you can remove the emotions out of it. It's hard to do, but we're at a place now where, either you get the job done or you don't, and he's not, and so he's got to go, and that sucks for him. I mean, and I hope he catches on somewhere and makes it happen. I think Charles Kelly is a really knowledgeable coach. I think Charles Kelly as a secondary coach or a linebackers coach would be fine.
Yeah, he was LBs and special teams, and those were just fine.
Yeah. He's having a hard time as a coordinator. Sometimes it works that way. There have been plenty of guys that were great, let's say, offensive coordinators. They get their job. They get their opportunity as a head coach, and it's not for them. It doesn't work out. They end up sticking around the NFL and coaching for years, and they're extremely well thought of, and they're a valuable asset to a staff. They're just not a good head coach. And it works that way sometimes. Some people have the makeup to be a really good linebackers coach. You elevate their status a little bit, and it becomes overwhelming, and for whatever reason, things fall between the cracks. It slips, the production's not there, and you lose your job, and you latch on somewhere else because you're knowledgeable, and you do a good job as a position coach. But I think that's what's going to happen for Charles Kelly. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
TNT. I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Company reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Yo, where the hell are you? Dude, I'm here, sitting at the bar. Where are you? The hell you are? I've been here for 30 minutes. Erroneous. BS. I've been sitting at this bar for 3 hours drinking pecan whiskey. We said Pensacola, dude. Why would we meet there? We're old men, and that's for the kids. Hashtag Northsiders. Did you just hashtag me? Hashtag hell yes. See you in 30. Get the mahi and a beer.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Our lifetime warranty is a game changer for buying cars in Tallahassee and Thomasville. You already know it extends the factory powertrain for unlimited time and unlimited miles. But here are the facts. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty is backed by Great American Insurance Company, an A-rated company that was founded in 1872 with billions in assets. The same company that underwrites GM's GMPP and Ford's Gap Insurance. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty comes with every new Nissan we sell and most pre-owned vehicles that are 5 years old or newer with 50,000 miles or less. While Kraft Nissan service department will certainly exceed your expectations and keep your records, you're not required to service with us. To maintain the warranty, you perform the manufacturer's recommended maintenance and keep your records. You can do that at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. It's that easy. What's the catch? There are no catches, hidden fees, or gimmicks. Kraft Nissan provides the product as an added value to our customers for doing business with us. So when you're ready to buy from Kraft Nissan, the home of our original and the only real lifetime warranty at no charge. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
The secret to better gas mileage and a longer lasting engine? Super Lube it every 3 months or 3,000 miles. The secret to even better gas mileage? Fuel Joules, a gas tank additive that'll increase your MPG by as much as 7%. And today, when you change your oil at Super Lube, you get a free bottle of Fuel Joules. Crystal Matthews and Amber Cossack own Solid Start, the company that makes Fuel Joules.
Every time we sell a bottle of Fuel Joules, a donation will be made to the National Breast Cancer Foundation.
In October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lubes. There's probably one right around the corner right now. Free offer valid without coupons or discounts.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'll tell you where, Charles. It's time for the 11th annual Brewfest. Over 200 beer varieties with unlimited sampling presented by the Tallahassee Sunrise Rotary Club. That would be Rotary Club. Come sample varieties of craft beer to learn what you like. I know, but I'm going to try a lot of those other ones just to see. The event is October the 28th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., held at the Antique Car Museum. General admission is only $39 with food available for purchase. VIPs have exclusive access from 4 to 5 p.m. That's us, Tom. All net proceeds go to charity. Brewfest sells out quickly, so you're going to want to get your tickets now. Visit the Facebook page or brewfesttallahassee.com for event details and ticketing information.
Do you think there will be raucous celebration for the big win over the Fighting Adazios on that Saturday?
The 16-7 vanquishing of BC will indeed be celebrated.
That would be 4 field goals and 2 safeties?
I'm going to go with a touchdown and 3 field goals, my friend. That's how we're getting there. 16-7. The Fighting Adazios will give their best effort as they did against Virginia Tech over the weekend and fall short.
And that's unfair because, in truth, if I'm being completely honest, coming out of that game, the bright spot is I do want to watch this offense and see how it develops over the next 6-7 games.
Well, I'll tell you what I want them to do. I want them to hang their hat on this run game and give the ball to Cam Akers and abuse people. Straight ahead, get you some of this, run downhill, and give those 2 guys or 3 guys, however many backs you want to utilize, 30-plus carries a game total. This was really the most encouraging sign from that offensive line we've seen yet, putting a hat on a hat and getting after it, running downhill and establishing a physicality to what you're doing. Early I was a little frustrated with Jimbo. The first play of the game, you run the ball, Jaquez Patrick, who runs hard, gets 34 yards, and then you turn around and throw the ball 4 consecutive times. And mixed signals at that point, but he did end up sticking with the run, and he did help his young quarterback out. And I think it's a good thing. He's got to figure out a way. He says this in my interview. You'll hear the interview when we come back after this break on the other side. But he says it in the interview with me that I got to figure out a way to get him more comfortable early. And he does. And that's a process they're going through now. They're learning as they go. He's learning this 18-year-old, and the 18-year-old's figuring out what he likes within the playbook and what he's comfortable with. Because it does seem that early in the game, I don't know if it's Jimbo worried about him making mistakes, which would stand to reason with a freshman quarterback, or if it's the freshman quarterback just really unsure of himself early on, not wanting to make the catastrophic error, so he's very reserved. Couldn't pull the trigger on a few plays that are there, I'll tell you that. I went back and watched this closely. In the first half, there are 4 plays that are there, 2 of which, I'll sound like Jimbo here, that are out the gate. One, I think, is a touchdown. One's a 30 or so yard gain, and he doesn't trust what he sees. And that's going to happen for a freshman. It's aggravating because I think as an offensive coordinator, Jimbo in that moment calls the right play and has to be thinking, throw it, he's there, we got it, damn it. And that's got to be very tough. At the same time, you got to figure out why that is, what that's about. Could just be youth, inexperience. Got to get him more comfortable and get him going early because you see, when it clicks and he's a go, when it clicks and he believes and he trusts, oh, it's there. There's a lot coming out of that cannon for an arm that he has. He threw a couple lasers here. There's a throw he makes that's somewhat ill-advised that he puts on Auden Tate. It's really nice. He's got 2 other routes in that combination that are open.
Yeah, he's looking at a blitz on the left, and Miami telegraphs it much the way we did
with our corner blitzes.
Yeah, with the McFadden blitz, where they end up throwing to the tight end for 80 whatever. I'm exaggerating, but forever in a day. And the left side is wide open, but Tate is open as well, especially if you can throw it with that type of velocity. And he trusts 18. That's point blank.
Well,
man.
Because 18 is the most trustworthy player on this offense, and that is a player that deserves nothing but kudos time and again. It is, I'll tell you something. I have great admiration for him. I've been told, and we talk about work ethic and we talk about discipline and we talk about, in a weird way, even though it's an amateur sport, professionalism, showing up, being there, being accountable. Auden Tate right now is a guy that you can follow into battle and that you can trust and is going to play through immense pain, which is what he's doing. And he is going to be consistent, and he's going to be trustworthy. And so there's the guy that you hope gets healthy too. I'd love to see what a really healthy Auden Tate could do with that discipline, with that focus, with that trustworthiness, and with a quarterback who loves to get him the ball.
Right, the chemistry that the two of them have.
It's there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Auden Tate is he's the star of the offense right now, and Cam Akers can be a big time star on this offense now that he's running north and south and hitting it up in there. This offensive line had to have gained some confidence, at least run blocking. They still fail you some in pass blocking, but young quarterback also sometimes hold the ball too long.
They won their fair share. They lost quite a few in ugly ways as well, which is to be expected, I think, partially because of how good Miami is up front. So it's hard to know how well they played, but he had a couple of things happen here. The tight ends, again, had an awful game.
Blocking. Izzo reemerged in the offense, though, as a pass catcher.
I think he took Saunders off the field, which is done.
Yeah,
just watching, because there was one play I do believe where we had 6-0 line out there. We had a sixth man on the left side, then Izzo on the right. But Dickerson did come out for a little stretch in this game as well.
Well, he's still battling through injury, and you really wish these guys could get healthy, yeah.
There's one play in particular where he gives up a pressure where Dickerson, it's just a man-on-man, and he gets absolutely embarrassed. And he comes out, I think it's the next series.
Yeah.
So I think they were evaluating and watching him very closely all day just to see how much he could do. And it might just have been no fault of his own. He can't handle it for the entirety of the game.
Yeah, you're in pain right there. He's a tough guy playing through it. But by the way, on the Maven thing, I don't think there's any question. You're correct. He's gotten so frustrated with him. That's really the story of Saunders' career. I mean, to look like that, to have that body type with the speed to go with it, and he's got, frankly, he's made some incredible catches in his brief amount of receptions that he's tallied. It's amazing.
Well, listen, he's worked with the receiver groups and position drills anyway. Maybe you just make the switch, and I get it. He's not that fast, but that body type is imposing, and if Gavin's out for any period of time, which it looks like he might be.
Well, and obviously, yeah, if you're not going to block.
There you go. Now you could be a diva receiver.
We already have a couple of those, one in particular. When we come back, the Mountain Dew coaches interview. Jimbo Fisher joined me last night. You'll hear that interview next.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahendra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Ale House on Appalachian Parkway has it all, from center cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachian Parkway.
At Lowe's, we're building our team to help rebuild our neighborhoods devastated by Hurricane Irma. Because it's going to take a lot of time, and we're going to need a lot of help. So if you know anyone looking for work, have them join Lowe's. We're hiring neighbors for full and part-time positions with great benefits. Sound good? Then let's get to work. Apply today in-store or online at lowes.com/IRMA. Select stores only. See store for details and restrictions.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This day in sports history. October 9th, 1960. Babe Ruth pitches and wins the longest World Series game at the time, 14 innings. The great Bambino gave up one home run in the contest, the only one he would give up in the entire 1916 season. He pitched 323 innings that season and had a 23-12 record with a 1.75 ERA.
The secret to better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Superlube it every 3 months or 3,000 miles. The secret to even better gas mileage? Fuel Joules, a gas tank additive that'll increase your MPG by as much as 7%. And today, when you change your oil at Superlube, you get a free bottle of Fuel Joules. Crystal Matthews and Amber Cossack own Solid Start, the company that makes Fuel Joules.
Every time we sell a bottle of Fuel Joules, a donation will be made to the National Breast Cancer Foundation.
In October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
There are 19 Tallahassee area Superlubes. There's probably one right around the corner right now. Free offer valid without coupons or discounts.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Tom Lang. Sadly, the quest for the Platinum Bohica falls short this weekend as for the first time in 8 years, the University of Miami tops Florida State. This final was 24-20 as two fourth-quarter rallying drives from quarterback James Blackman. They end up falling just short. Asked today about the status of defensive coordinator Charles Kelly, here's what Jimbo Fisher had to say in his Monday afternoon press conference.
I have extreme confidence in Charles. Charles is a great football coach. He coached a very good game. They made a couple plays at the end, and he's done a really nice job. So we'll continue. Charles will be our coordinator, and we'll go through this year, and hopefully we'll finish the year very strong.
Next up for Florida State is a noon kick at Wallace Wade this Saturday as Florida State travels on the road to take on Duke. Announced also today, Florida State Louisville in Tallahassee on October 21st. That will also be a noon kickoff. TV networks will be known after this weekend's slate of games.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stop in at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
All right, welcome back. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. We're joined now by Jimbo Fisher, as we always are on Mondays. He's looked at the tape. All right, Coach, this game feels a bit like a microcosm of the season because on the one hand, I think you're going to tell me there's plenty that you can draw from here. Your young quarterback grows up, makes plays in the fourth quarter. Your young running back starts to run north and south and hit it up in there. You're able to control the game in the first half, some situations where you could have come away with some more points. And on the other hand, we say all that, but it accompanies another loss and a close one at that. So that's kind of the microcosm of the season right about now, the good and the bad, and we're coming up just short.
It is, and we got to find one way to make one more play and find. As I joke all the time, eye control and find the inches. I mean, an inch or two here, and you got to do it. Now, like I say, we have to do that, and we should be doing that, and we have to do it. And we've got to find that way. And at the same time, it's very close, but at the same time, we got to do a better job of coaching them, keep putting them in position, and making them do it.
Well, you mentioned it in the postgame last night. I want to go straight to it. James Blackman regrouped. He finds it in the fourth quarter of a rivalry game after he's had a couple mistakes. You played quarterback. You've talked about this before. That's admirable. That's the stuff that you look back on as a career develops and you realize then he had it. So you have to be very proud of the way he gathered himself after those couple interceptions.
There's no doubt. I mean, and mistakes. One of them was totally on him. One's a kind of a combination I won't get into. But at the same time, as people have no idea, especially early in your career, how hard that is to do. And even for an old veteran, some guys just can't do it. He has something about him. Now, we got to get some things cleaned up in the beginning, get a little faster start, and I've got to do a better job in that situation with him, making sure he's totally comfortable with things and get him going. But there was some, man, that what he did in that fourth quarter in those last three drives is really a heck of a deal.
How frustrated, I'm wondering, take me through the first half. It's totally dominated by Florida State. At one point at the end of the first quarter, you're doubling in time of possession. It's 124-24 in yards. You really have control of the game. You can argue that if it's 10-0 at half, you might just win this game. Were you frustrated, or did you see, okay, we have the lead, there's something else we got to do here to get some points on the board?
Well, it was, and because the plays were, the opportunities were there. We just got to get it to slow down and make it. And, whether it was just we ran the ball really effectively. But in occasion we'd have one just play where, and when one guy give a little penetration up, we'd have a 2nd and 12. With a young quarterback sometimes early in the game, that sets you back. And we knew it. Knew we should have had more, had a chance for a touchdown. We had just one of the few protection breakdowns we had early in the first half that cost us there. And, if you're getting 6-8 more yards, you're kicking field goals and those things, even though you're up 9-10-0. But we needed a touchdown. And it wasn't frustrating to a point as it was that you were disappointed because the things are there and they know they could do it and could come off and regurgitate what happened. Just got to finalize and find a way to do it.
You mentioned the run game. Obviously, 31 carries, 212 yards. Did you know during the week, okay, we can run the ball against Miami? That's a good front seven. What did you see?
Well, we knew we had to, and we wanted to be physical and direct, and we knew it could set things up. But we felt we liked the matchups in there, and we thought we could find some running game. We really did.
I guess real quick while we're on the subject, since Jaquez Patrick came up with an injury, let's go through quickly. You don't have to tell me anything you don't need to tell me. Trey Marshall, Keith Gavin, Jaquez Patrick, Auden Tate. Where are we at for this week?
Auden should be ready to play. Keith Gavin will have to wait and see. Who else did you say? Jaquez should be good to go. Who else? Just somebody else.
Trey Marshall.
Trey Marshall. I don't know. I would assume so, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know yet.
All right, so Miami at halftime, Coach, has, I think, a grand total of 54 yards. Obviously, in the second half, it's a different story. They go for 280 and 24. The frustration, I think, for fans, and it has to be for you as coaches, the defense has had a penchant for this. This is 7 of 17 games where they've given up either a game-tying or a go-ahead score in the fourth quarter. What's missing right now? Why aren't those plays being made when the game is on the line?
Well, we just got to pay attention to detail, and like I say, offensively help them out a little bit, and and keep understanding those situational footballs and not try too hard to make plays. But we've got to be able to close games out, and we have to do that. And we'll just coach them better and do it. Those are things that we constantly ask ourselves and our players, and we have open discussions on those types of things. And and sometimes you make them too big of a issue. They put crazy, you do crazy things, but at the same time, you got to be aware and understand how to play situational football, because that's one of the things that we've always done a great job of around here is playing those situations. And it's something we've got to continue to grow on.
Take us through the final drive, Coach. I guess really everybody looks at the touchdown play. For people that I don't want to insult anybody, but for people that didn't play football, it looks like you're impressed. You're in man there. What go through the thought process there for people who want to know what we were in and why that happened.
Well, that's the best thing we play. we can get rush. We got a rock. We got a safety over the top. We got an extra floater in the middle. We got locked on guys because if they throw a tight ball, McFadden hadn't given up a throw all day.
Right.
He had played man. He's as good a cover guy as there is in America. And they got to make an unbelievable play to make it. You don't mind it. Actually, the zone plays is where we had given up our plays.
Mm-hmm.
We had given those up, and we didn't feel, that the best thing we did was play man against them. We liked the matchups. He has great coverage. The guy makes a phenomenal throw and catch. At the same time, we can rush that way. We can lock the backs down where they can't dump it down because they got a timeout left, or slide one up the sideline and zone or something, or down the middle, which they had tried 2 or 3 times in the game, trying to slide seam routes up the middle, which are you're vulnerable to in the red zone when that things happen. And that's what we played the best. And really the play the guys is the play before when it was 3rd and 10, and we had some zone man combinations, which is what we were in.
Right.
And they ran a little whip route to get to shorten up the field goal. And basically we just missed the tackle. We got the guy. He's there. If we tackle him, they're kicking a 46-yard field goal to tie it the last play of the game. We missed the tackle, which allowed that. So, But we felt with McFadden hadn't give up a play all year. He's as good a corner as there is anywhere. And, it's like you put him in, he's 6'3", and he's big, and we had him on the big guy, and we felt good, and they just made a play.
And sometimes it happens that way, and it's interesting. You bring up the play. Everybody sees the touchdown, but there are a couple of third down conversions that really you can go back to are the bigger deal there.
It was the 3rd and 10, which, we had the right call. We just missed the tackle. Had a little whip route. We play him well. We went to tackle him and just slid off. And they picked one up early in the drive on a seam route coming across, and you say, everybody hates the prevent defense. Don't play prevent. Well, you can play man, and that's the best way you can rush too, because you can turn those guys loose. But we got to keep getting the pressure, and that was the play. If we've got them down on 3rd and 10. It really, that would have been real interesting.
Final question, let you go, Coach. All right, so obviously we're not where we need to be. 1-2 in the ACC. Yep. I know you're dissatisfied with that. Obviously, everybody gets frustrated, and then there's a lot of that, especially when expectations before the season. You got the 3rd-ranked team, and now you see a team that's 1-3. What's your message to the team? What do you tell guys? Are competitors? They fought. Nobody was quitting or anything like that. But what's your message now? Because sometimes when your goals are off the table, it can be very difficult to stay motivated.
You say team goals, but most guys here, in our world today, we talk about team goals, which are huge, but individual goals are big too. They still got a lot to play with. Their careers, their futures. Who wants a GM seeing a team guys playing on a 1-3 team to make them come back and have a great year, just like USC was 1-3 last year.
Right.
Who was playing his tail off on film and saying, I want that guy on my team. It's an individual time right here, and as you do that, you're going to help your team. You still have that responsibility. And after that locker room, there was a lot of guys down. I jumped them because they were sad. They were hurt. You could see it. I was hurt. But at the same time, don't hold your head. You played your hearts out. Hold your head up, and let's go play. We're going to have a heck of a football team, and we're going to individually, we're going to challenge and push those guys for the guys that have a future in this game, and the guys, and as a team, and learning right now, what you're going to do is you're going to reveal what you're made of. You're going to reveal who your character is and who you are as a human being. And you don't always get those many chances in life to truly show who you are as a person. And we're going to show it, and they need to show it. And if they do, it will help our team, and I think we can finish the year out strong. But we got to just start it 1 week at a time.
Coach, I always appreciate it. Thanks for your candor, and I'll talk to you again next week. Good luck.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, take care. That's Jimbo Fisher, head coach, Florida State. And I think the challenge is now, obviously, is to latch on to something, whether that's each other, your aspirations in the game. As a player, the team goals are gone. But I think most people that are competitive don't just go through the motions just because some of the goals before the season are erased. As fans, it's incredibly disappointing, and you can ask the question rightfully, and the frustration mounts understandably. But the question is, what can be done about what's transpired now? Well, I think the things that have to be done in the offseason, and that's not an easy answer. And in the moment when you're losing and you're angry, and I am, and I know he is, and certainly the fan base as a whole are absolutely mortified with a 1-3 start. And I don't know how you couldn't be. You should be. At a place like this, it's not good enough. Absolutely, it's not good enough. So the questions are, what do you do to remedy this situation? Well, most people would answer that by telling you he's got to make changes on the staff. Fine. I don't disagree. I think he does too. But I don't think, that's going to affect week to week anything what you're doing here, anything that you're doing, because you got to play these games now. He's not firing anybody. Said it before this game. I'll say it now. He's not firing anybody in season. But I think you got to find a way to make a play. That's a damning stat. That's as damning a stat as there can be. The team has given up the game-tying or go-ahead drive in 7 of the last 17 games in the fourth quarter. And you ask the question, what has to happen for them to make those critical plays when the game is on the line? I ask a question, too, that would be, why are they so often in that situation with the talent that he's recruiting? Meaning, why are all these games, including the one you won against Wake Forest, always so close? It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSupercenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Charlie is all over the place. He's so unorganized. How do I get him to be more responsible with his academics? I've tried everything.
Hi, I'm Lance Davis. Let Engaged Academics help your child learn how to work through these common issues. Visit engagedacademics.org for more information. That's engagedacademics.org.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, T-I-X-X. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
Do you like video games, live music, dancing, and having fun with your friends? Swing by the new Fire Betty's, located in Midtown on Thomasville Road and 5th Avenue. Not only can you quench your thirst, but now Fire Betty's offers a new fun food menu as well. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. There's something fun going on every night, from trivia on Wednesdays to live music on Fridays, hospitality nights on Thursdays, and unique music video DJ Saturdays. Come take a trip down memory lane and make some new ones too. Happy hour at Fire Betty's is Tuesday through Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m. And don't forget about Sunday Fun Day with the NFL Red Zone, liquid brunch and drink specials all day, starting at 3 p.m. For catering or private parties, message Fire Betty's on Facebook.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'll tell you what's on tap. You can go ahead and cue it up. By the way, these guys are coming to Tallahassee.
Are they really?
I tell you, yeah. I'm pumped. I got to check the date on that. Tim Linnefelt told me over the weekend.
All right.
Yeah, good stuff. We should go to that show. I think we will.
I think we will.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I mean, if you got a good show.
Yeah, it's rare.
You like them more than I do, but they're good.
Yeah, they're really good. I think you'd like them more if you saw the concert.
We should find out.
Yeah, well, we will. I'm going to do it. Cue it.
Ready for a cold one? Proof Brewing Company in Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
That's just me. I got lost a little bit there.
It was like between the song and the intro to The Naked Gun.
Our thanks to Proof Brewing Company for coming on board to sponsor What's on Tap. Baseball, tons of baseball and Monday Night Football. Who's playing the Monday night game?
That is the Vikings And Sam Bradford apparently is good to go tonight against Mitchell Trubisky, making his debut for the Chicago Bears.
All right, well, the Vikings will win that game going away. But I'll watch it.
Also, a quick programming note, beginning at 6:30, we'll have the pregame for Indians-Yankees Game 4 in the ALDS.
Did you watch last night?
That will be our first game. Well, the 1-0.
Yeah, that was something.
I watched Robertson get through the 8th, and I figured that was all she wrote. But I ended up watching a fair amount of the Chiefs and Texans game.
Weird game.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are really freaking good. I mean, that's all there is to it. And Alex is doing things he hasn't done in the past. I mean, throwing the ball down the field to receivers now is becoming a deal. So good on you. Credit where credit's due. That's impressive. And he's converting on third down, buying time in the pocket.
And there's some garbage time, some not, but Deshaun looks good. He's continuing to look good, and he's got, obviously, that throw to Hopkins down the field was just...
Yeah, no, he is. He is. Good for him. I like that kid. Normally I have other things to tell you, like you can find the deliciousness in can of proof in stores near you, because you can. I saw them last night at Publix, wide variety. And if you go to the location there in Railroad Square, you can get that tasty goodness with all the taps.
Which has been open since 2014, man. It's now a cornerstone of Railroad Square Art Park.
Yeah, so our thanks to Proof again for what's on tap. I didn't pull out the read, but you get the drift.
That's my fault. I didn't tell you about it until
Proof's really good. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
The return liner
Proof's
fired.
good. Get you some. I still like the basic 850. I do.
Well, it's exceptional. There's nothing basic about it.
No, I don't mean it that way. I'm saying that was like one of the first ones I ever had, and I've had a gazillion others that I like, Ghost Totem and all that other stuff. But I'm telling you, I just keep going back to the 850.
It'll be porter season if we can ever get under 85 degrees.
Oh, you know what? We almost made it successfully through the entirety of the show without me discussing this nonsense. Every second of every moment on Saturday, Sunday, and then again today that I stepped outside, I almost began to punch my own testicles. It's October the 9th, and it's 100 with 100% humidity. That infuriates me. Good job out of you. Good job, Matthew. Thanks to those who called and or listened. Be well. Have a good night. Maybe enjoy a Proof, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.